Buff Nation, what up? BWBs, all of my bandwagon buffs, what's going on? I hope all is well. Thank you so much for joining me today on the TLP Sports Club. Guys, I appreciate you. Give me a second. Let me go live on Instagram. I am on Instagram live, and I'm also on Twitter live. All right, so let's hit the go. Let's go live on Instagram, and hopefully the sound doesn't come through. But yeah, so I'm live on Instagram and I am live on Twitter or X. So welcome to TLP Sports Club. You are now watching TLP live. All right. This is Free for All Friday, and I am your host, Harry Billion. All right. Thank you for joining me today. Today is going to be a great show, because this week, Colorado has had its media day, all right? Not just Colorado's media day. It's the Big 12's media day. And basically what the media day is, they're putting on a show, all right? All of the colleges that represents the Big 12 conference are basically giving content to the media, all right? They're showing themselves. They're showing players. Their top players are coming and they're giving interviews. These interviews, the quotes, the words that they're going to hold on to the entire time, pretty much before the season starts. All right, because in August, by the end of August, we will be in full-fledged football, and you will be seeing a whole bunch of other colors, different colors, all over your screen on Saturdays. All right, sometimes on Thursdays. All right, maybe not sometimes, but a lot on Thursdays. You will be seeing football all over again. So the media day, we're gonna deconstruct Colorado's side of the media. Well, I'm gonna give you a little bit of the general idea, or kind of like the breakdowns. I'm gonna recap some of the biggest quotes that came from the entire media day, the Big 12 media stuff, and then we'll kind of pivot over to covering or deconstructing Colorado's media day, because Colorado is like the biggest story in college football. So it was only befitting that Colorado was the biggest story at the Big 12 Media Day. That's where most people are going to be. That's where most people are going to gravitate to, because everybody's waiting for Coach Prime to drop a bomb. Okay? Everybody's waiting for Coach Prime to say something for him to go right. Because that's where it's at. That's where the attention is at. And if you know anything about the media like I do, I've been working in the media forever, all right? Maybe not forever, but I've been working in the media for a very long time. And we as media people, you as consumers of media, you want the biggest stories. You want the biggest, hoopla. The excitement is where you want the media to be at. And trust me, we have an interesting show for you today, because Colorado showed up and showed out. All right. One thing that I did notice in the whole media day is it was a different tune. There was a different tune in the media for Coach Prime and his boys. They're grown up. Coach Prime and his boys are all grown up. If I was to just kind of like encapsulate everything that I feel like went on in that media day, is that our boys are all grown up. And I love it. It was like, I think somebody has a quote that said, there was one quote that came out that said, I'll give you all the quotes later, but there was one quote that kind of struck that pricked my attention. And it said that Coach Prime actually sounded like a football coach. Oh man. And I don't know about you, but if you've been around here, guys, if you've been around here and you've been, following the channel, you've been part of this live and chat, you know how much I want to get away from the drama. You know how much I can't wait for them to start considering Colorado, Coach Prime, and start having a football talk. Man, that quote, when I saw that quote, I was like, oh yes, thank God. You see what I'm saying? Because any other time, it's like they were just looking for the most delicious thing. And for them to say that Coach Prime sounded like a football coach, man, that's a victory in itself for TLP Sports Club because I just feel like I can't wait to just start talking football. Because contrary to popular belief, the BWBs, the bandwagon buffs, we know football. And we want to just talk football. We want to joust with the best of them. We want to go pound for pound with the best of them. We want to talk football. Unfortunately, if you are, a Colorado creator, I guess, is that our name? If you are a content creator that creates content based around, focused around Colorado football, then we kind of get a bad rap because people call us whiny, we're crybabies, we don't know anything about football. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't wait to just start talking football where Colorado puts up enough wins to where now we can say, most of our conversations will actually be football conversations. And boy, when we get to that place, I'm telling you, some people will be getting cooked. We will be cooking people left and right, all right? And it's like, we'll be cooking y'all like African food, all right? Lots of seasoning. All right, lots of different meats. If you know how African food goes, especially West African, let me just say Liberian food, because I think the Ghanaians and the Nigerians, I think they separate their meats from their sauce. That's crazy. But anyways, Liberian food cooking, we cook all the meat and then we add it in the sauce. I'm telling you, when we start talking football, I will cook you like Liberian food. I'm telling you. But guys, I have a great show for you today. Let me just let you know, right at the top, I got the right finger this time, right at the top of your screen, right here where my finger is pointing at, if you are watching. Some people are just listening on audio, but you can call into the show. The email is right there on your screen. Screen left, top left. It's jointlplive@gmail.com if you would like to join the conversation. Guys, jointlplive@gmail.com. It is the email. We're going to have a lot of fun today, guys. It's Free for All Friday. The topic is the Big 12 media behind enemy lines. All right. I see the media as enemies, you know what I'm saying? Even though I am the media, but we're the enemy when it comes to like the Colorado Buffs, because the daggone media loves to hate Colorado, but there's also loves. All right. So if you listen to that quote, loves to hate Colorado. So the media also loves Colorado. So we're behind enemy lines today. We're going to be deconstructing everything that happened with the Big 12 Media Day. So without further ado, guys, let's get to work. I want to start off with something that Josh Pate discussed and is going to get this conversation started. Because I always preach and I always say this is how I feel like the media should be. I feel like the media should just try to tell the truth. If it's good or bad on Coach Prime or the boys, then it is what it is. We'll accept it as is. And I understand that some people are going to feel some kind of way, no matter whether it's good, whether it's just constructive or whether it's just regular criticism. So I wanted to start with this because I feel like, it touched on something that I feel like we should touch on. We should start with the show. And I want to thank DC Carson. I want to thank Phil and DC for sending me this. And then we'll start with the show. Before I do that, let me not be rude, guys. Let me say hello to my people in the chat. All right, so Tim Smith, what's up, man? My guy Dallas is in the building. Yo, you used to put that in the comments all the time, but then you stopped putting it. Dallas is in the building. What's up, Dallas? Dallas, what up? Dallas Cowboys. Hey, Shirley Kimball, how you doing today, Shirley? Phil So Real, my guy Phil So Real is in the building. Thank you. I love to have you on today. Andre Harris, what up with you? DC Carson music. I hope that music is sounding real good. 704 Liquor House Talk. What in the world is that about? All right, what's up with you today? Son of Yahweh. Hey, son of Yahweh, you been saying your prayers? Don't come with no mess today, because God don't like no mess. Like father, like son. Stop playing with me. Andre Harris, I already said hello. Edwin Smith, aloha from Hawaii, if you are from there. Ron Tate, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, Ron Tate. What up with you, my guy? Well, we're about to have a lot of fun, guys. I love this community, man. I'm telling you, man, we have a great community here, a community of bandwagon buffs. that just loves to just have fun with college football, talk Coach Prime, and then wherever the conversation goes after that, it goes there. You feel me? Do me a favor, hit that like button, guys. I really appreciate it if you hit that like button to help this channel out. And if you are not a subscriber, I had a couple of shows. It was suggested for me to just have the comments for subscribers only to help the show grow, but then we kind of got stagnant. So I was like, you know what? Let me let the haters in. All right, those who don't want to subscribe to the channel. Let's have a conversation. So I opened it up for everybody. So if you're not a subscriber, it's all good. Join the conversation. Join the conversation. Let's just talk. I don't care anymore. Let's join the conversation. Let's talk. We're gonna start off the conversation with my guy. Let's invite my guy, Phil So Real. Welcome to the show, my brother. Thank you for calling in.
Hey,
Appreciate you, brother.
thank you for letting me jump on, man. It's been a heck of a week on my end, so I'm happy to get on here and chat with everybody.
Awesome, man. Listen, we're gonna lift some of the heaviness of our daily week and just have a good old conversation about college football, and why not talk about the biggest story in college football, Colorado, right?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Hey, was it you that sent me this, or was it the Josh Pate thing, or was it DC?
It was me that sent it to you. Anything that's coming from Josh Pate is probably gonna be coming from me, so I can't let
Oh
DC
yeah.
take
So
credit on that
you
one.
and I share a great admiration for Josh Pate, right? Because the white tees, he wears the white tees, I wear the black tees. So you and I share that admiration. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's not gonna have a hat on backwards. He's just gonna show that bald head, Mr. Clean, and keep it moving.
That's right. And what is your reason for liking Josh Pate?
So I can't remember when I came across him, but I feel like I've been watching him for a while now, at least since 2006, 2007. One, I'm biased. He's from Georgia. He's from Harris County, Georgia. They
Okay.
used to play my
Oh
high
yeah, he
school in
does have that
football.
accent.
Yeah, and so they used to kick our teeth in a lot. So I wasn't happy about that. But so outside of that, I just feel like he tries to be fair. He tries to be balanced. He's not really into the hot take business. He may say something that is against the grain, but
Mm-hmm.
for me, I don't think he's doing it from a standpoint of, oh, I'm trying to quote unquote get clicks, or I'm just trying to ruffle feathers and piss people off. I think he actually says what he means and means what he says, but he tries to be calculated by it. So it's refreshing to listen to him talk about sports compared to listening to a Stephen A. Smith or a Skip and all the other talking heads.
Now, the reason why I'm trying to have this conversation is just to kind of preface everything with why we're doing this clip. You do find him to be kind of like a centrist. He's a football purist, right? He's a fan of the game,
Yeah, he,
and
he
then
would
he
he would
happens
definitely
to.
be considered legacy. No, he would definitely be considered legacy. But
And
yes,
he's a purist. He is a pure
yeah,
purist.
he loves the game. Full stop.
Did he ever play the game?
He played. I know he played in high school. I'm not sure what his life was like in college. But believe it or not, I haven't come across that story. I know he loves storm chasing. When it's tornado season.
Okay.
And I know he's always in the gym working out. Because when he does his campus tours, he likes to work out in the gyms of the different schools. But I don't know his college career, but I do know he played in high school.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like Josh Pate because I like when the media kind of like just get out of the way of the story and let the story be the lead. You feel me? Whether it's
Hmm.
good or bad, I like people that understand what the idea of the media is supposed to be, as opposed to trying to create the media. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and play this clip. And for those of you who are listening, I'm going to try to put my microphone as close as I possibly can. Turn the microphone around, but he's responding to Rob Hurley. Rob Hurley either reposted or posted this, and it says, "What do you make of Deion Sanders saying that that his wins are different than everyone else's wins? Everyone else's. Shouldn't he get more wins before making excuses?" So let's listen to what Josh Pate, how did he deconstruct this, and then we'll continue with our deconstructing of what happened at the media day. Let's take a listen. All right. You can hear it clearly, Phil?
He had hit play again. Let me see.
Okay, 1 second.
No, no audio is coming through.
You said no audio?
Yeah, no audio is coming through on my end.
Uh-huh. That is interesting.
Are you able to play it directly from his Twitter account?
That's where I'm playing it from.
Oh, gotcha. I know sometimes, I know most times when you pull up stuff online, it'll play straight through the audio. But yeah, it's not coming through at this moment.
But I'm actually putting my microphone. I'm actually putting my microphone on it. Let me play it one more time, and you tell me if you can hear it. Anybody else in the chat can hear me? Let me know.
Yeah, I can. I heard him say something a little bit, but yeah, it's not coming through like that. Can't really hear anything.
Nothing's coming through on your end.
Yeah, I can't hear anything. Can
Can
anybody
you
in the chat hear anything? Cause I can't hear it.
can you hear me talking on the mic?
Yeah, I can hear you talking on the mic, just not him. I just can't hear the audio of the clip coming through.
Wow. So if the audio, let me see.
Yeah, it's like when you first click it, it'll come through, and then after that, it'll stop. Like you can hear the first couple of syllables of what he's saying, and then the audio go mute. But I can give like a general idea of what Dion said. If we need to work on some the technical
Okay,
difficulties we're
so
having.
you know what's weird is that I'm actually playing. I'm playing the sound, but I'm putting my microphone to it, and you're saying my microphone is not actually picking it up.
Correct.
Wow, that's interesting.
But
How
yeah,
about
but
now?
what same situation. You can hear it start, and then nothing comes through after like the first couple of syllables.
Okay, but anyways, so man, that's kind of sad because give me a second. Let me see if we can do this in a different way.
But yeah, I don't want to have too much dead air. But I think um just looking at the tweet that the person put out, it's
mm-hmm,
like they didn't. I want to know how they why they are saying he's making excuses, because based off what Dion said, I didn't hear anything that sounded like an excuse to me. I think he's having a real conversation about
mm-hmm,
how he's measured against his counterparts. Um, I'm glad that he did not make it racial because we all know there is a racial component to it. But I feel like he also was kind of like, for the ones that know, excuse me, for the ones that know, we knew what he was saying, but he
yeah,
did a good job of being, I guess, political with the way he presented it. But he is correct. His wins are different. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at a team like Georgia, they had a young man die due to I think I don't know if they were racing or just speeding last
mm-hmm,
year, and then now within the same week they have two different guys get arrested for speeding, right?
mm-hmm,
So imagine if that happened at Colorado. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if insert starting offensive lineman did speeding, and then 2 days later insert starting, I don't know, secondary player got pulled over for racing. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine what the media would say about Colorado from that standpoint, right?
mm-hmm.
Or to his point, like, well, we can't go 4-8 and still have a
Hey,
great
listen,
GPA.
hold on real quick. Can you hear this?
Yeah, it's coming through. It's coming through that way.
So if you're anything but
Okay.
the best, you're
All right,
viewed
here
as
we
a
go.
failure. And even then, he's saying, a lot of you had asked, he said, what do you make of Deion Sanders saying his wins are different than everyone else's? Shouldn't he get more wins before making excuses? Rob, you almost got me on this. A lot of you almost got me on this because I'll be honest, I was not watching Big 12 Media Days live. So this is a notorious event for out of context screenshots, sound bites, etc. And if you're not careful, you'll fall victim. And I almost got. I did something that we try and practice a lot around here. I went and I found the entire quote. And you're not going to believe it. But the entire quote sounds a little different than that individual quote out of context. Roll it, Colin.
Yes, I'm judged on a different scale. My wins are totally different than your wins. Your wins, you just judging football. That's why I have to start out and give you education and academics and so forth. I have to give you those things so you understand there's a greater scope. I can't win.
It just went out.
Yeah, I just paused it. One second.
9 games and our GPA suffers. Our GPA can't be high, but we lose another 8 games. We can't not go and grab high school players and you got a bunch of guys in the portal, out of the portal that's getting incarcerated. My wins are different. We have to win in every area. That's the way we're judged. And I'm cool with that because we come a little different. So the expectation is greater. But it's not just football. It's been like that all my life. I've always had a greater expectation for myself. So the expectation you have for me would never outweigh the expectation I have of myself.
They almost got me. But when I listened to that, I realized why people took the quote out of context. Because if you play that whole clip, number one, you'll lose like 80% of the crowd because no one listens past 20 seconds. Number two, the ones who are around till the very end will say, well, there's no headline here. Like, I would hope my coach thinks like this. You know what I took it to say? I took it to say the job of being a college football head coach, especially, has like 57 million different layers to it. And there could be some layers in there that you're really proud of as your team goes 4-8. And you could look at some of those individual layers and you could say, you know what? We did not have the record we wanted to this year, but man, I'm proud of this. I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of him. General public doesn't care. General public says, you won 4 games? I don't care. Conversely, Deion could go 8-4 this year. But look at some of those layers and say, we went 8-4. That's great. Well, actually, he wouldn't say that's great. Most people would say they overachieved. But Deion may look and say, record notwithstanding, I'm not so happy with this layer. I think that layer there is kind of a failure. And that was the point he was trying to make. It's a whole lot more than just the wins and losses on the scoreboard come fall when you're judging how a man's running his program. That's the first thing. The second thing was just about standards and having high ones for yourself. And how in the world would you ever want to coach or any leader to think any way other than that? Your standards should be higher than anyone else's expectation level for you. In fact, to the point where frequently you feel like you failed when the entire world is calling you a success. Deion Sanders is saying that, and it helps that he's been viewed as one of the best his whole life. So if you're anything but the best, you're viewed as a failure. And even then he's saying, hey, expectation doesn't really bother me so much because I exceed some of your expectations and still haven't even met mine. So certainly if I meet mine, I have well exceeded yours. It's always the attitude to have. That's not it's controversial if you don't think that way. It's a problem if you don't think that way. Everything's not a controversy, even with Deion Sanders, even with Shedeur Sanders, even with Colorado. It doesn't all have to be a controversy. A lot of you had asked. He said, what do you make of Deion Sanders saying?
So that's, let me bring on Tim. Tim, give me a second. I'll bring you on in a second. But basically, that's what I wanted to start off the show with, because if you take a look at what this person is trying to do or what this person was trying to say, this is how I feel like the media always tries to, take stuff out of context. And Coach Prime said something that, yeah.
Hey, I just want to be clear. I don't think this person that Josh is responding to is somebody in the media. This was a mailbag episode, so he was just answering questions that came from Twitter. So I don't want to make the statement that this person is a part of media and is not. I think this person is just a regular fan, from my understanding.
Well, I'm considering media as social media, and like
Okay, yeah, okay, that makes
pretty
sense. Then
much,
that makes sense.
people try to take things out of context, and then when it gets on social media, because people already have a disposition, they already have either their hate or the way that they feel about Coach Prime. Things are going to be ran, and the media is going to either pick it up and then say, "Oh, but look at what they're saying. Look at what they're saying. What do you make of Deion Sanders saying that his team, his wins are different than everybody else's wins? Shouldn't he get more win before making excuses?" So it's like, what I'm saying, for you to add that and saying Coach Prime was making excuses, I'm so glad that Josh Pate was able to break this down. And you don't often get this side of the media. You don't often get people saying, coming to the rescue of something that was misinterpreted, for them to put a segment of their show and say something like this is not what it was meant to be, because this is the type of stuff that'll go viral because people already have a dispensation about, or they have a position on how they already feel about Prime. So I wanted to highlight this and say, listen, even though this seemed like, is praiseworthy, it doesn't always have to be good. For me, it doesn't always have to be praiseworthy. It could be somebody just saying, hey, this is what it really is. And whether it comes out negative or if it's positive, I'm for the media just getting out of the way of the story and let the story be in the story. And that's what he did here. And that's why I wanted to make sure that I highlight this so that our fan base will understand this is what we want the media to do. So we're not all crazy. We're not all delusional. When we saying we're protecting Prime or we're saying stuff that's positive about Prime, is because there's so much hate that people try to bring stuff out of. They try to make something out of nothing or even misinterpret something that it was not meant to be. So I wanted to get your thoughts. Before I get your thoughts, let me bring on the other guys on the panel so that we can go ahead and get everybody's thoughts one at a time. Hey, Tim Smith from Dallas, what up with you, man? Thank you for calling to the show. I appreciate you, brother.
Yo, what up, Harry? What up, Phil? And to everybody in the chat, what's happening?
All is well. Just hold the phone real quick. Let me bring on Ron Tate. He wants to come on, then we can get everybody's thoughts. All right, 1 second. Hey, Ron Tate, how you doing today, brother? Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you.
Hey, Harry, how are you?
All is well. All is well. All right, so Ron, I want to start with you because we always have these conversations because you and I are probably, you and I are always on the side of trying to make sure that we're holding down Prime. So let me start with you on what Rob Hurley intended and how Josh Pate was able to break it down in the media.
Well, reading that quote from Hurley, it was obvious he had, just like other haters, a preconceived. How do I want to put that? He premeditated. He had a premeditated thought process that he wanted to put out over the air, and he wanted others to follow, to like Pate said, try to latch onto the bait and to carry it on. So that's what they do. That's what they do. This is a perfect example of someone taking a short snippet of the comments of Coach Prime and trying to use it as clickbait or hate bait.
Because it goes viral when you get something negative, like, oh, he should win more games. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not sure how many of you guys watched the OSU video that I did, but Mike Gundy, when he started off, he went his first game with OSU with his alma mater. He went 4-7, and coaches are kind of like in this, coaches are supposed to be pretty much when you're trying to build something, people don't come at you harshly as they've come against Prime for just starting to build something where he went 4-8. Other coaches can go 4-8 and people will just kind of like brush it off and say, well, they're building and it's looking like they're doing some good things by getting some 5 stars, getting this. But it seems like people's expectations are so much different from how they judge Coach Prime. And I think he was trying to address that about his wins and how they look at what he does, because their expectations are so much different. So, Tim, let me get your thoughts on this, brother. What are your thoughts on this?
First of all, Harry, thank you for having me on your show. And then I would like to say, like Josh, I really appreciate and value his breakdown of any team in college football. First
Mm-hmm.
and foremost, he keep it 100. He keep it a buck. But when it come to Deion and the statement that I heard and I seen his media day press conference, like he kept it 100% factual. Deion did.
Mm,
As a African American black man, number one, that went through college, that went through the NFL, that conquered and mastered his position, then go on to be a gold jacket wearer into the Hall of Fame. Now he's coaching, but the I feel like a lot of these media platforms has a hidden agenda.
mm,
Like on three has a hidden agenda, but it's starting to surface more and more. Uh, each and every time something happens at Colorado. But I feel like when it comes to Dion, that everything that he stated, he has to, and it's sad that he has to talk about. Okay, well, our students are succeeding in the classroom. That's your should be the number one achievement.
mm-hmm.
Football comes second to that. You know, the percentage of African American men that are coming from different walks of life, different backgrounds, uh, different financial situations, and he's able to um, get them to graduate at a high level, getting them to become young men to grown men.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they make it to the NFL or not, once they walk out of that door and receive that diploma, that's something that nobody can take away from them. But he's putting them in a position to succeed in life, whether it's in the National Football League or just in life in general.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the sad part about that is he has to bring all that up. Now, on the flip side, if that was a Nick Saban had a lot of allegations going on at Alabama. No shade to you, Phil, being an Alabama Crimson Tide fan, but
Hey, I
you
don't get
know
paid by Alabama, so it's all good, man. They don't pay my
already,
shit.
already. So, but what I'm saying is he didn't had a lot of things with young men being accused of sexual assaults, other different allegations that went on, but he doesn't have to come to the podium and talk about that. He can talk about strictly football and everything is a-okay, but they don't bring up the other thing. Well, they may bring it up, but they don't ride that wave forever. So I just feel like when it comes to him, he knows what he's up against. I guess some of us as fans, we
Mm-hmm.
have to understand his positioning.
Can,
So
can
so
I
Phil,
can I chime in? Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead.
Phil. So I'm coming to you. So at the end of the day, I guess I don't want to ride this racial wave, but when Coach Prime says his wins hit a little different, can you imagine Coach Prime, as much as the media pays attention to every single breathing thing that he does? Can you imagine if he was winning, but the flip side of winning was taking a dip on education? Can you imagine the kids not making the grades and see you having to make accommodations for a bunch of slouch players and that are not achieving anything in the classroom? Can you imagine that?
I mean, yeah, I guess I can. I also say that a lot of times, like the grades thing is like a cool little thing to throw out there like that. But as a whole, that's not something that the media talks about in general, whether they're praising a team for having such high achievement in the classroom or whether they're criticizing a team for having such low achievement in the classroom. Generally speaking, it's not something that the media talks about. But to Rob's uh, point,
Hold on one second, Phil.
but
I don't mean to interrupt you, but by him bringing that up, don't you think that? that's something that's good that these young men and women need to hear about, because they made a commercial on, hey, I'm going pro other than the sport that they participated in high school. That's something that really needs to be at the forefront, because
That
kids come out and they just think it's strictly NFL, but we all know that that's a small percentage.
Mm-hmm.
well, but I want to be clear though. My argument isn't that we shouldn't celebrate it. My argument is that it's not something that the media generally speaks about. So
No,
I
okay. So
agree.
Phil, on
Okay.
that, this is what I want to tell you. The flip side of that, if it's something they don't celebrate, that's why I asked you. Can you imagine if it was prime, but his grades were low? Even if they didn't talk about it, if they were low, they would find a story to say, well, the goalposts will move
Well,
again, and they'll say, well, he's winning on the field, but he's losing in the classroom, which where it matters the most. That
but
would be
remember
a
my
big
point.
story.
But when I first was on, remember I was talking about, imagine if Colorado had the situation like what Georgia had this week, where you had two guys on separate occasions get caught up with speeding tickets. That's
Mm-hmm.
my point. Like I know that the masses or some media will point that out. That's not my argument.
Right.
But to a point that I wanted to bring up about what Rob is saying, and again, I don't want to make it seem like he is media, but I understand your point. It's out on social media, so now people can take it and run with it. I want to just strip away the whole Dion factor in what he said. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to understand from a pure communication standpoint, how can he hear that clip regardless of who it was, whether it was somebody that went 1-11 last year or somebody that went undefeated last year? How is him saying our wins are different? How does that equal him making excuses? That's what I don't understand. How somebody can get to that line of thinking. And I
Well,
try not to throw that.
that's why
I
Tim
try not.
said he had. What was it, Tim or Ron that said he had an agenda?
Yeah, I think yeah, and I'm piggybacking off of that. I think there clearly was a hidden agenda. So when I see statements like this, that where they just putting stuff out there behind, to me, that is what I consider hate. To me, this will be considered hate. I've seen other quote unquote constructive criticism of Colorado and Deion, and I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, it is what it is. But to me, I would classify this as hate because there's nowhere in there where he said anything where he was trying to make an excuse. And I think this person just wanted to take a dig at Dion. And now his Twitter account ain't even open anymore. So like I guess he done got his feelings hurt now.
Wait, his Twitter account's not open no more. You said?
I just tried to look him up. He ain't there, man.
Wow. Let's go. Let's do it live. Let's see what the heck. He shut it down because he tried it.
Hey man, that CU Mafia ain't no joke, man. I don't play.
Oh, okay. So I can't get to it. This is a clip, so I can't get in there. But I mean, it's I don't know, but why? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what would be your reasoning? Like you said, like what would be the reasoning for you to just try to make something up just so you can get? I don't know if he's a if Rob Hurley's a content creator or not, or you know what I'm saying? I don't know. If you're a content creator and you have a purpose to try to like get clicks and try to do a bait and switch or a bait and click and clickbait and stuff like that, I get it kind of, but you put this out there because you already understand that there's a sentiment out there that people hate Prime. So he's making excuses, and then the actual tweet that I don't even know how many views or how many clicks and stuff that he got and what the comments were like, but I can only imagine that there will be there'll be a lot of people in there just like piling on and saying, yeah, he's making excuses. But I don't know where we go from 1-11 to 4-8, and instead of us saying, well, he's building, and really saying, hey man, that's a good start, from where we came from, and being told that nobody that the players that were coming from the FCS were no good. How are we coming from there? And then that this is not one thing, this is not something that we're celebrating, except now we're saying he's making excuses.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get how that statement comes off as him making excuses. I really don't.
Surfer Boy said, hey guys, his Twitter account is closed because the coach counter attacked him. I do agree that there was no need to go after Coach Brown for this one. I mean, yeah, because it didn't make no sense. It's like if you heard, like you said, Phil, if you heard the whole thing, then why try to make something out of nothing? Like, what's the purpose of it?
That goes to a bigger point about what Josh is saying in general. How many times do we pull up something on social media and it's only a 30-second clip, but it's a part of a 1 hour podcast, a 1 hour conversation inside of a 15-minute, like directly, like concentrated conversation about a topic, but we only see the 30-second clip and we
Right.
take it and run with it. I get it.
Right.
It is what it is. Everybody's busy. We don't have time to get everything in full context, but I highly recommend that when you can, you do it, because there have been stories that I've heard about Deion making a statement and then I go back and I read it in its full context and I'm like, okay, you're reaching on this one. Or I may come back and say, all right, I mean, I see where you may have an issue with it, but whatever. But I think when you can get the full context and things, that's when you can really have a full opinion on it. And I don't think this young man really gave a darn to get the full context of what he was saying. So
Right.
I'm not even gonna give him any more energy at this point.
Hey, Harry, I want to chime in and say I agree with something that Phil has said.
Uh-oh. Why are you making it sound like this is your first time you're finally going to agree with him?
Phil knows he's my guy, man. He's my guy from Alabama.
Okay.
Listen, I think the point that Phil was making, I was thinking like, darn, he's right. And then when you take, okay, my thinking of what Coach Prime said, that, you know, hey, I have to do things differently. The guy that this Hurley guy is a perfect example. He's one of many that are out there that are waiting to chime in to try to cultivate clickbait and on the back of CU. Now there's some that may be on YouTube that are trying to get clicks and trying to help their channel, and they use that as strategy. And then there are those out there who are really trying to harm the program. And I think someone that did a study or did a little investigation on 3 and the way they were dropping the stars on certain recruits.
Juju Lewis.
Yeah. But
Ron.
Did Ron disappear?
Yeah, he dropped off. Somebody done came and got him. I get one of them Colorado State fans didn't like
they got they came and got him. Oh,
but
man.
hey, can I say something real quick, Harry?
Yeah,
I wish Ron was still on. You know what? I'm gonna hold my train of thought. And
Ron is back. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, I'm back.
Finish your thought.
Sorry, Phil. I said I agree with you, Phil. Phil pulled the plug on me. I'm sorry.
No, that's the folks from Nebraska and Colorado State, man. That's the haters.
Okay.
Yeah. My point was just that, like on 3, how they're developing, or they have developed, you know, a factual line of situations, a history of dropping players that they highly rate, that commit or say or make a commitment to CU, and they turn around and drop them.
Yeah, it's kind of
for no legitimate reason. You know, Juju is one of the most accurate high school quarterback in the country, according to On 3. And some other accolades that they laid on him early on. But the minute he started showing interest in CU and going away from USC and Auburn, now he's a 4-star.
Can we touch on that? I know Tim had a point he wanted to make, and I didn't know exactly where you were trying to take the show, but that is a topic that I wanted to kind of speak on if we had a second. But
we do have a second, but I just wanted to make sure I remind everybody the reason why I brought up that whole topic, because the thing is like if Coach Prime, you know, I say this all the time here, and I say if Coach Prime was to get media like Josh Pate, like if he was to get people who were actually like the Paul Feinbaums and people who are opinionated to actually just give their opinions based on the game, like Josh Payton, not really try to, take another route, then recruiting will actually increase. I feel like there are always repercussions of everything they're doing, and it's a concerted effort for them to try to slow down the Deion train. The Deion train is moving, and is moving so fast that some people are a little, shook, and they're a little scared. Like, hey, what if we was to let this guy just loose and just do it? If we were to just cover him the right way, it might be worse than this. The 5 stars that he get, the people that he gets in his warehouse, it might be worse. So I wanted to make sure I said that, because I know that we get a lot of flack on everything that people say is not always negative. I just wanted people to understand it's not that we're just trying to look for everything that's positive. We just want everything to just be, just report the news and don't make the news, But go ahead,
But
Phil.
how can you determine if somebody's providing like an honest critique of Colorado? How can you decipher if they're trying to hate and not, even if they are using stats? If they're using stats to say, hey, on third downs when it's more than 10 yards, Colorado always wants to throw the ball 20 yards down the field. They should do that. There's still going to be somebody that considers that to be hate, even if they're trying to use stats to like critique Colorado.
But hear what I'm saying though. Hear what I'm saying. Keep in mind that there are different types. There are different types of fans, right? There's going to be different categories of fans, and how they react is up to them, and right. But what I'm saying is the general public. It's like a general consensus. If you put the truth out there, you're not always trying to be malicious or salacious with the truth. Then people are smart enough. Like I think it was Kendrick Lamar that says these people are not dumb. Fans are not stupid. They know what's going on. If you tell the truth, and the truth is always what you're trying to, get at, or if you're not trying to get in the way of the truth, then guess what? People will make up their own mind eventually. You're still going to have people on either side, on every side. You got your super fans, you got your haters, you got your constructive criticizers. Everybody's going to have, there's going to be a percentage of everything. But I think where we want to be at, we want to be somewhere centric. We want to be somewhere where the media is actually doing their job and not necessarily creating these stories. So I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying if we got more of a regular coverage like Josh Pate, then I think recruiting would be affected a little differently.
I don't think you have enough people that have the integrity that Josh has. Just knowing what I know about him and
You're right.
The way he was raised, I think he just built a little bit different. And not to toot your own horn, but I think that's why your show is different, because you move a lot different. So sometimes you're gonna have outliers that we really wish we had more of. Unfortunately, I think Josh is one of those outliers we just don't have enough of in sports media.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you said that, because it's important to know that there are people doing the right thing. We're always trying to steer the fan base. So, hey, man, look at it this way, look at it that way. Everything's not hate. Some things are just constructive. And if Coach Prime makes a move and somebody saying, well, he shouldn't have made that move, it's not always hate. So you're going to have your people who say, well, that's hate. But you're going to have your people who say, well, let it ride. But we want to be somewhere centrist and where we understand that football talk, like I said in the beginning of the show, I'm so glad that somebody made that quote that Coach Prime sounded like a coach. Like that's what they got out of this whole thing, that Coach Prime sounded like a football coach. And man, if we start having football conversations, man, you will see a different side of, I think, a lot of the Deion Sanders fans. You feel me?
Harry, could I make a point?
Yes.
Agreeing exactly with what you said, and a lot of times Phil, and I'm not saying anything in a derogatory way, Phil. Phil makes comments and he disagrees with everyone on the panel, but it's his opinion based on some factual information that he's looking at, and he's saying, okay, this is the way I see it. This is my opinion, and we'll all jump, or I will, from time to time, will say, no, you are seeing it through jaded lens, and this is the way you should see it.
Right.
But it's my opinion, and he is giving his opinion, and we're both looking at a factual thing or commenting on a factual situation. We're now talking about information being put out by certain media professionals and some laymen that are involved in the media, putting out information that as you described, may be a little salacious, but not facts, not based on fact, and
And
misleading.
I can't get behind that. I do not like that. I'm open all day for constructive criticism based off facts and data and stuff. But if you just talking to be talking, I've had to cut off a lot of people that I follow on social media because they just talking to be talking. I want some real substance behind what's being said. So I agree with you on that, Ron.
Yeah, I'm a man of substance too. I like substance, you know, and it don't have to be favorable.
Harry, you don't like substance, Harry. You want data. You want data.
Data is based in substance.
Hey, but real quick though on the Juju topic, man, like this is a really weird situation. Because I can't think of a time where a I've seen a recruiting channel or site or whatever the correct terminology is be accused of like going after a specific school, like from a negative standpoint. Like well, if you follow recruiting, you'll hear about the Bama bump. Sometimes there may be a high 3-star guy get signed to Bama. They boost him up because he goes to Bama. Happens
Yes.
with Georgia.
Yes.
Happens, it happens with Ohio State sometimes. Some of your quote unquote blue blood schools. But I've never seen it on the reverse. I'm not accusing them of doing it, but I will say again, this is the first time that I've seen it happen on a continuous type of basis. Now, specifically with Julian, I was trying to look it up and see could anybody give me information on why they're saying that. And a couple of the people that I came across, as far as some of the articles I came across, was saying that he had a really good camp at the Elite 11. I don't think he won the Elite 11, but he had a fairly good camp. He won a couple of different drills they had. So I'm not really sure why he would lose a star just so other quarterbacks could gain a star, because I think the St. Clair kid from Ohio State and the Russell kid from Bama, because of their performances at the Elite 11 and other passing camps they had this summer, they got pushed up to a 5-star. So I'm wondering if maybe there was a camp that Julian went to and he just bombed that we don't know about. But otherwise, it's weird to see them take a star away from him. And my last point, real quick, is that he did reclassify to be a senior this year. He's supposed to be a junior this year. So I'm wondering if maybe that 1 year development is starting to kind of show where some of those guys that could possibly be 2 years older than him are just a little bit better and a little bit more polished. So that's the only angle that I can take to see where it makes sense for him to lose the star.
Well, according to that Elite 11 camp, I think he was third in one drill, and again on his accuracy, he was one, and another skill, he was either first or second.
Right,
So
I heard roughly the same thing. Yeah.
The lowest in any drill that he participated in, the lowest he was ever, and he was a third one time. And everything else he participated in, he was either first or second.
That makes it even more perplexing why they would drop him down. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
So check this out. Like as far as I believe they had a Elite 11, and he was like the then y'all see what's on the screen here?
Yeah.
This is an award that he received from wasn't that the Elite 11 that he got that award from?
No. That if it was Elite 11, it would have it on the shirt and on the helmet. That looks like this is a different passing count, just the Pro Day champion passing count. It looks like.
So
I can't really tell, but I'll look it up.
I saw a clip online where there was somebody saying something about Elite 11, and then they handed him a helmet. I'm not sure if this is where this helmet, this thing is coming from, but to your point, Phil, I don't know that he did he did so poorly in anything or anybody outshone him, whatever, that will suggest that he should be dropped a star. So again, it's one of those things that we just don't know what to say, or we don't know why they're doing it, but.
That's my point. Like I honestly can't think of anything that would make him drop, because I haven't seen I don't know of him going. Like I said, I don't know of him going out and bombing at a camp. So this is strange to me. But it looks like from what I was able to find on 247 Sports, he did
Mm.
come in second. Overall, he came in second place at the Elite 11. The St. Clair kid from Ohio State was first, and then Keelan Russell, Alabama commit out of Duncanville, was number 3. So
Who was first? Was it a
that's nice.
quarterback?
Yeah, the Elite 11 is it's like the top 20 quarterbacks in
Mm.
high school that are upcoming seniors for this year, and then like they take them through different drills and almost like a combine situation for like a week, and then they take the top 11 based off of whatever results they had. But a lot of really high level college quarterbacks have come from the Elite 11. They have a lot of guys that went to the NFL from the Elite 11 as well. So they are a pretty good judge of skill when it comes to the Elite 11.
Okay, so as far as that's concerned, but was the person that came in third? I mean, that came in first. Were they already a 4-star or what? What?
They got their 5-star after the Elite 11, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay, so I guess if we're guessing, then they could have dropped him because there's only 32 that they're handing out, right? So
Yeah, I think there's an average of about anywhere from 30 to 35 each year, I think.
Hey, isn't the kid from Michigan number one though? He been number one for a minute now, right?
You talking about he's from Michigan, but he signed to LSU?
Yeah,
Bryce Underwood. Yeah,
yeah,
he's still considered the consensus number 1 overall
yeah.
quarterback in the
He
class.
real
But
deal.
from Elite 11, I don't know if he was actually on the roster for Elite 11 to even be in there.
Oh, because I know he's still, if I'm not mistaken, still ranked as the number one quarterback in the country.
Correct, he is. He is.
Oh,
And
okay.
he did not go to the Elite 11. His name is not on the
Okay, he
list
didn't.
of guys that
Okay.
went. So would be interesting to see how he would have done. But yeah, he didn't attend it.
But
all
when
right,
it
guys,
comes, oh, go
go.
ahead.
No, I wanted to go, make your statement before I go. Make your statement.
No, 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 no. You good? Go ahead, sir.
All right, so okay, so I wanted to run some of these interviews and see Coach Prime. This guy's on 3. So you know how? Let me just preface this by saying, you know how like at networks, the network may have their agenda, but then you have certain individuals at the network that is kind of like trying to do the right thing or whatever. Sometimes, I mean, I'm not a Fox watcher, but sometimes you may catch somebody at Fox that may try to do the right thing or say the right thing for a certain group of people. I find Phillips to be one of those guys at On3 where we're not so favorable with On3. That sometimes they try to stay neutral, but he's one of those guys that's just like he's part of the culture and he understands the culture and he just tries to do his job. So I wanted to, like, even though we're talking about On3, and how they do, I wanted to play this clip just so we can kind of like put some perspective on this. And again, I don't know if this is going to play on my computer, so I'm just going to try to the voice may be off, but I'm going to try to play it on my phone, the audio, and then we'll try to listen to it. We'll try to follow the voice on the screen. So, all right, so let me see if I can do this simultaneously. All right, let's go.
Here live with Coach Prime at the 5-Star Flex right here, Big 12 Media Days. We're going to jump right into it. Coach Prime, what's been the biggest obstacle that you faced in year 2 in Colorado? I haven't faced obstacles. Okay. It hadn't been nothing that has eliminated us or prevented us from being where we want to be or going where we want to go. I think self is the biggest obstacle that our young men can have because they have the talent, they have the ability, they have the knowledge, they have the foresight as well as the wisdom. They just got to put it to use. They got to want it, and they got to want to go get it. And when you really want to go get something, you have something in front of you that you want to apprehend. The enemy's always going to put a stumbling block in front of you. Right. So it takes self to understand that's what that is, and I got to get around it, and I got to get through it so I can get to it. I love it.
All right, so with that being said, I wanted to ask y'all the question. When Coach Prime says we haven't faced obstacles, like how would y'all hear that when somebody says we haven't had any obstacles? Especially when we talk about haters, we talk about everything that they've been going through. It was a little refreshing to me that the way Coach Prime kind of put it when he says it wasn't really anything that was really stopping us from doing what we had to do, But I wanted to hear from y'all, and I'll start with you, Phil. Like when you hear Coach Prime say we haven't really had obstacles, it's just kind of like ourselves being in our own way. What is your thoughts on that? On how he handled that question? Are you guys hearing me?
My bad. I was on
I
mute
can hear
while
you.
Oh, okay.
I was on mute while the video was playing. I'm sorry. But no,
Oh,
I was just saying I think that's on brand. That's an on brand answer from Deion, just based off of how he's answered stuff before in the past. I would be interested in knowing like if that is a true statement. Like, were there any things that they went that hindered them from kind of trying to get to where they are now?
mhm.
But no, I mean it to me it's an on brand answer.
Okay. What are your thoughts? How did you hear that when he said there was no obstacles, Ronte?
Well, I think he's saying that there's nothing that anyone else does outside of their program that they're going to allow to be an obstacle to him and what they're trying to do at CU. That's what I took out of it, because there are people that are, creating issues and situations to try to degrade and to sidetrack the program. But he's saying there's nothing, because we're not going to allow anything that anyone else does to affect our program. We're going to continue to move forward.
Awesome.
Hey, can I add to that really quick?
Yeah.
I hope that is what he's saying. I hope that is the case, and I also hope that they're not listening to the good stuff either, because a lot of times we focus on the negative, like the haters on Twitter and stuff. But
Hmm.
sometimes the people that are bigging you up too much, you think you
Hmm.
can get too big for your britches, and then not go out there and practice like you're supposed to and prepare like you're supposed to. So I hope that it's good and bad that they're trying to close off, or as Coach Saban would call it, the rat poison when they're talking too good about you. I hope they
Hmm.
can close that off and just focus on practicing, playing
Hmm.
football, going to class, going to the weight room, being successful.
Yeah, I would say that they've been paying attention. I ain't gonna hold you. Like I think the fact that Coach Prime came out this media day and he said something about NDSU, I feel like I'm responsible for a little part of that. We've been screaming, please pay attention, and and he came out and said, "Wow, they're good." You feel me? It was one of those quotes that came out early, and when Coach Prime quotes started flying on the internet, Coach Prime was like, "Wow, NDSU was good," and then he jokingly said that he's mad at Rick George for putting them on the schedule, but it just lets me know that they're paying attention to to everything. They're understanding. They're not just drinking the Kool-Aid, but they're also preparing for everything to come. So I definitely understand that. Tim, let me get your thoughts, and then I'll bring Bishop on.
I mean, I feel like there were some obstacles uh with well bringing in a brand new team from the portal, you know, and trying to get everybody to jail in a short amount of time to play a season. That's the obstacle in itself. Uh, your offensive coordinator and your QB1
Defense.
not on the same page. That's the obstacle. Uh, uh, the coaching staff gelling together is an obstacle in itself. But as far as everything that they were doing or trying to implement that every other program does on a consistent basis, I don't see any obstacle in that form. But in a team collective and everybody meshing together, yeah, there was a lot of obstacles that displayed itself and showed itself in real time to the
So
country.
I guess the way he approached it was where Prime Effect 101 is saying here, there was nothing that was put in their way that wouldn't allow CU to achieve their goals. So he kind of answered it in a way where it's like, well, it was, I guess, in the sense of what an obstacle is. He was like, well, I don't know that we had anything that would stop us. You feel me? So it was like, I guess, in the sense of how you consider what an obstacle is. He's like, nothing really stopped us. It was just based on how we perceived everything that was coming at us and how we handled it. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. All right. So let me bring on Bishop, guys, to join the panel. Hey, Bishop, welcome to the show, brother. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you.
Hey, big salute, big salute.
Did you hear the first part of this interview that I just played about the obstacles?
I sure did.
All right. So what are your thoughts on that, and how you think Coach Prime handled that?
I think he handled it in I just think he's ready for this new venture, and he just wanted to make sure he's did the right step.
Copy that. All right. So let's listen a little bit more, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Give me 1 second. Keep in mind, guys, his lips might be a little bit off because I'm having to do double duty. Let's see if I can press it at the same time.
Where have you grown the most from year 1 in Colorado to year 2 off the field? Patience, man. I'm not a patient man in many things of life, but I had to understand that to excel, not only this level to me, HBCU in this level, coaching's coaching, youth football, coaching's coaching, high school, coaching's coaching. Right. Just my patience of understanding that, okay, he may not be there right now. He's in the microwave. I got to put him on 10, but I got to put him on 4. I got to put him on 30 seconds. You know, it's different. You got to assess and understand and a little differently now. And be patient enough to let that happen or to see that for what it is. What God told me the other day was profound, man, and I'm going to share it with you. Okay. He said, you either giving someone an opportunity or a chance. Now, if I give you an opportunity, that means I feel as though you were ready. I feel as though you got something inside of you that's going to take advantage of that opportunity. And that opportunity is on you once I give it to you. Right. Now, if I give you a chance, I really don't trust you. I really don't believe in you. And you take this chance and you mess that up, now that's back on me. Right. Because I shouldn't have done it anyway. But I wanted to give it to you because I thought you deserved it. That's heavy, Coach. And my chances
That's pretty heavy, and I want to take that in twofold. The first part of that, the first part of what he said, I want to take that twofold. The first part of what he said. Let me see. Oh man, my brain just got a what's the name here? Give me a second, guys.
Yeah, he said he wanted to be. He said he became more patient.
Patience, yes. Thank you. So what? thank you, Phil.
No problem.
So what do y'all think he's speaking to there as far as, you know, the biggest thing that he's learned for this year is patience, and then saying, you know, assessing each player that he has or each young man that he has in his under his tutelage. What do you think he's speaking to there? How is that looking like from year number 1 to year number 2, where he's saying, all right, so now I'm trying to take my time to understand and evaluate each talent differently and not try to put everybody in the same category, to where I should take my time a little bit and have more patience with guys developing at different levels. What are your thoughts? And Bishop, I'm going to start with you on that. What are your thoughts on that? And what are you hearing?
Now you got to understand, he went through a full season and he learned a lot through that season and understand where he's at. He thought what his surrounding cast and the players he had, they were ready to go the same level he was in thought process. But now having the opportunity to take a step back, he realized that it is a process, and that now he understands that you have to get them to fully buy in and make sure your surrounding staff believes like you believe and understands how to make the necessary adjustments necessary to make the necessary jump.
Mm. All right, so let me get your thoughts on that, Tim. What do you think he was speaking on that when he was saying that?
I mean, I take it as is that he's kind of saying that having that the patience on a coaching level, now that he's at a coaching level versus a player's level. When he was a player, he held himself to a very high standard that others couldn't compete with.
That's a good point.
All the way through college, and some of his former teammates would say, "Hey, when we go to the club, he wants to practice. he ready to practice or he's out there practicing. So I feel like when you have a standard already set for yourself through every aspect of your life, now you at a stage where you're coaching that to young men.
Mm-hmm.
You really wanting them to be at your level, but they're not just yet.
That's a good point. That is a good point. It's a good point that you said that. And let me just highlight what Surfer Boy 3000 is saying. He's saying he takes it takes time to build a squad that can win on a consistent basis. So in so many words, that's something that I've been we've been having some conversations offline, and I've actually said that Prime has not come out to actually say that and trying to hold him to his words like, hey, you're putting out a narrative and you're saying, hey, I want to win now, and people are taking that narrative and running with it, and that's how they're judging you based on everything.
I don't know why I
say.
can't hear Harry.
You can't hear me? Is anybody else hearing me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
You can hear.
I mean, I hear everyone on the panel when they speak, but I can't hear anything else.
Wow. Okay, so you might want to click off and click back on and see if that'll change.
Run. If you can't hear Harry, just drop from the panel and then come back on.
Yeah, come back on. It might change.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, and I've been saying, I've said that, we're holding Prime. I think a lot of people's expectations are based on what Prime is either not saying and what he is saying, but he has not come out to definitely, define what his tenure at CU is, to let us know, hey guys, this is how sometimes coaches will come in and they'll tell you to trust the process, and they'll say so many words, and they'll say, hey man, hey Ron, can you hear me now?
Yes sir, I can.
Awesome. So so coaches will come in and they'll say, they'll set the standard, and they'll let the fan base know, this is what I'm trying to do, and guys, please have some patience. This is going to take some time. But Prime coming in and saying, hey, I want to win right now, it has actually set up expectations for a certain group of people, and they won't let it go, even though we all know that it takes time. So Surfer Boy saying this right here with Prime, he's saying he's hearing Prime saying, hey, I need some patience, and I have a little bit more patience now. Maybe that's what he's hearing, and maybe that sounds like what Prime is actually saying. He's saying in so many words like, hey, this might take some time. Maybe that's Prime's way of saying that. Anybody else think so?
I think he's finally realized that a little hard work, or as he perceives as hard work for his team, would equal, wins and outstanding performances by players.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he understands now it takes a little more patience with individuals that does not have the God-given gift that he was born with. And guys have to work a little harder in this day and time. I believe that he understands that now, that it takes that gift along with hard work to get where you want to get, and to get the wins that he wants the program to the end results to be in the program. Now he understands he has to swallow a little bit more of that patient pill.
Right. I mean, it's it speaks volumes. If it speaks volumes to understand, like, I always listen to these gurus on social media. Like, if you're on Instagram or you see these shorts, every other short, or there's a guru that's like, try to get you to be an entrepreneur or try to get you to do what what they can easily do. And I always think about that, and I'm like, like, I wonder, like, because you have a God-given talent, it doesn't mean that everybody's gonna follow your footsteps and do exactly what you're saying. So now what you're saying, when you just said that, that's what came to my mind. It's like, we have to understand that Prime actually has, he had a natural God-given talent, a God-given gift, and then there's a flip side to that God-given gift. He didn't just give him the gift, he also gave him discipline and training. So he gave him the whole package. Some guys have the gift, but they lack the discipline to actually push the gift to where it needs to go. God gave Coach Prime the gift. He gave him the discipline to be able to train and to really understand what it means to get your body prepared, just like LeBron James, for the heavy load of playing football and baseball. And he gave him that discipline. So Coach Prime was, just expecting those guys to have that same kind of mindset and discipline. I don't know if it was unrealistic or it was just like too much for some guys. And I'm glad that he's saying that he understands that now. Did I give you an opportunity to go, Tim?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I
Okay.
haven't gone yet.
All right, so go ahead, Phil. What are your thoughts based on that, please?
Yeah, so I'll be quick. I'll pretty much just kind of piggyback off what everybody else has said. I think uh, when Deion was a player, he didn't have to worry about anybody else but himself, especially being a cornerback. You're on the island by yourself anyway.
Mm,
So I think this, for a lack of a better phrase, is a rude awakening when you become a coach. And now you can do your best to motivate people all day, but if they ain't got it, they just ain't got it. And I think that's kind of what he's running into.
mm,
Uh, I think Jackson State was great, but I also think because of the perceived ease in which he was able to go turn them around and make them successful, I think that's what people are expecting out of Colorado. And I think it's just not that easy at this level. And I think he's realizing that. But I think this year in the offseason, his new focus on the trenches, the offensive line, you can tell there's been a change in certain areas in the way that he wants to build his team. So I'm appreciative of that. So when he says I got to have patience, I think he's realizing that maybe the way that I thought I needed to do things, I need to make some tweaks here and there with.
mm.
Hey Harry,
Yes,
I
sir.
wanted to say one thing. I want to throw this out here because, and the only time I would do this is because this is free for all Friday, and I have a bone to pick with Coach Prime.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
I
No,
Let's
got a
go.
bone to
don't
pick.
listen.
And
Rod is a tennis, okay? Rod is a tennis, so don't even think he about to drop a bomb, okay? Go ahead, Rod.
listen.
His bones are always great bones.
Where is the patience for
Oh,
my number one guy, Bishop Thomas?
man.
You know what?
Bring
I'm a
back Bishop.
Bring back Bishop.
BBB. Bring
run
back
run.
Bishop.
But it wasn't Prom though. Prom had all the remember Prom suspended him, right?
Yeah,
So when you
yeah.
suspend somebody, you're giving them a chance.
Yeah, that's
Like
a
he was
chance.
that's a chance, right? He
But
gave
you
them
know
the
what?
opportunity first, right?
Hey, Harry, think about what Ron is saying and what you just said.
Uh-huh.
That literally ties into the next comment that he was making about being patient. He was like, if I don't necessarily believe that you should have that chance, when I
Right.
give it to you and you don't do right with it, that's on me. So
Exactly.
that's so Ron, that was a perfect way to lead us into the next segment. So great job with that.
Exactly. Right. So did he give him a chance? Was that a chance or an opportunity? Because I think he gave him an opportunity to join the Buffs. This is a D1 program. We keep forgetting that Colorado is a D1 program. And
Yeah.
D1 programs don't come around like there's so many players coming from all different walks of life, from overseas, from in the United States. I think we take for granted that this is a D1 program, and to get those, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's very hard. Let me just put it that way. Okay, I can't find the adjective or whatever, but it's very hard to get a D1 offer. So do y'all see this? Did y'all see this as an opportunity, like to explain, to jump into that next segment? Was this an or that next comment? Was it an opportunity or was it a chance? You can take it, Ron.
BWB's BBB. BWB's BBB.
BW.
No,
Yeah, what?
bring back Bishop.
Oh,
Hey,
oh
listen,
gosh, bring
listen.
back Bishop.
It was an opportunity. He gave him an opportunity to, okay, here we are over here, there you are over there. Here's the path back. And somewhere between that duck walk and those up and downs and missing meetings and classes, I just think the man needed, if there's anyone that needed some guidance, maybe I'm a little biased because he was like one of my favorite young guys. It was Bishop. I think he needed some special help. I really believe that.
Let me get this out. Let me get this tweet out from William Berry. William Berry said, "Tried to tell you, Harry. Tried to tell you, Farrakhan and Juju coming, Harry B. Farrakhan committing tomorrow. Okay, he's committing tomorrow, but is he committing to see you? Juju.
Who is Farrakhan, by the way?
Farrakhan is the other player. I forgot what his position is, but
He's
he was
a wide
another player.
receiver, I think.
Okay, he was another player that actually had he was on that infamous visit on that Saturday. You're gonna put some respect on my on my crystal balls. Listen, I ain't gonna put no respect on your balls, okay? Okay, pause that, son. Stop playing with me, son. We in New York over here, okay? I ain't putting no respect on no dude's balls. All right, I don't care if they're crystal or
Harry, stop, man. Stop it.
I know.
Stop it, Harry.
Too many shades flowing out in these streets.
Yo, listen, we in New York, okay? I don't care if I'm Christian or not. I ain't putting no respect on your balls. Stop playing with me. Let's bring DC. Let's bring DC. DC, what's up with you, man? Thanks for calling in. I appreciate you, man.
What is up? What's up?
And I don't put no respect on your balls either. Stop playing with me. Oh God! So, DC, let's jump you in real quick. How do you define the second phrase that he said? A chance versus an opportunity. Would you consider both opportunities? The fact that he suspended him, and then he was given it. Was he given that opportunity, or did he take a chance on suspending him to try to see if he'll correct his behavior?
Hey, I've had to do that with soldiers all the time. It's like, hey, it is what it is. This is, you get that that negative counseling statement, or something may happen to you. Even sometimes you've had to take stripes, but that you give them an opportunity. You always have to have a rehab plan. But if they don't want to do it, you can't make them do it. Again, you can lead the horse to water, but you cannot make them drink. And the truth be told, having taught on the college campus, everybody is not ready for a college campus experience. They may be great athletes, great players, but there's so many distractions, and if y'all can kind of fill in the blank what those distractions are. Ryan, you know exactly what it is. All of y'all know exactly what the distractions are. Yeah. That and then you have time if you don't have somebody, right? If you don't have a good time management skills, you just not. It's going to be hard, man. No diddy.
Yeah, I can give you a good
one.
Scoop Brooklyn, what up? But go ahead. Who wants to give you a good example?
I wanted to chime in and give a good example. I explained to my younger brother, when you get to college, now remember that 7 days a week, there's one of your friends or associate. Everyone knows someone that's having a party every day of the week. You have to understand your responsibility and what you have to do. You have to take care. You don't have free time. You don't have the time that you think is free. It's not. It's not free. But he didn't believe me until someone sent him a letter about his scholarship being pulled if he didn't get his grades up and all that, and wrote me a letter, told me, oh my gosh, it happened exactly the way you said. But DC, I just want you to know that we're all BWBs. But
Ron, I will say, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We're all BWBs, but our next acronym is going to be from now on BBB.
Bring back Bishop. Okay, Triple B. But you know what, though,
I'm
Ron,
on that bandwagon, man. I want him back, man.
That's all right. That's all right. But
sometimes if that horse is too sick, you got to stick an IV in him. He can't drink.
Yeah, but you know what,
hey,
though?
Hey, DC, let me ask you this question. How far are you willing to drag it? Because you got to keep in mind that when you are on the plane and they say something's going on, they always ask you to put on your lifesaver thing first, right?
Save yourself first. Yeah.
Right, to save yourself first. So how long are you willing to take to go with a young man who is not willing to save themselves, or who is not willing to listen to your instructions? I mean, we can take Cormani McLean, we can take Bishop. There's so many different examples where you can do but so much, and then before you have to say, well, you know what, I got to look out for myself.
Let me jump on that one real quick. And yeah, just finally as I transition to answer that, yeah. My mom told me that my mom Ron, my mom was a college professor, and then after my third freshman year, I realized I needed to leave, and that's when I went to the military the first time because I realized I was not ready. But in this, Harry, I would say it's that having dealt with those type of individuals, when it becomes a time and an energy waster, you have to let them go because then it takes and then especially if there's a little toxic stuff where they're starting to infect others, or you kind of have that little crew that'll sit over that's not doing what they need to do and they're taking away from it. You have to let them go.
So
Hey, Harry,
you all, let me just say this real quick. You all are bringing us some great factual points. But in my BBB mind, I'm holding on to the delusion that I don't have all the facts.
that I respect that statement so much. You know what, I wish more fans would be like that, Ron, and they just say, listen, I don't care what the optics are. I don't care about nothing. This is just what I want, and I want it because I want it, and that is perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine, Ron. I got all the respect in the world for you saying that.
Hey, Ron, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Is it fair to say that Coach Prime give all these guys, because he's hand picking these guys, an opportunity with a rule book? I feel like it's up to them to degrade themselves down to a chance.
Of once again, that's another
Even Bishop.
that's another comment that I believe is factual. I mean, we don't know. We haven't read it. I mean, we know what we hear and see online and the information that's put out to us. But I believe it's somewhere along that line, exactly as you said. I'm not taking away from any of that. I'm not taking away from any of that.
So Ron, we can't change it. So Ron, we can't change.
Go ahead, DC.
What my best friend just told me is that I want what I want.
But Ron, you can't change it.
And you want it, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine in my book.
You're a spoiled little brat.
But Ron, we're going to change you from. We about to change you from BBB to BBL. By Bishop Lee.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what happened. Hey Harry,
guys,
can I
before you go, Phil, let me give you your flowers and thank you for gifting a TLP membership. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You're doing the Lord's work. Thank you, Phil.
You,
I appreciate you, brother. But go ahead with your comment, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a statement about something that let me find it in the chat real quick. I'm sorry. That Prime Effect 101 said. They said
she majored in spades.
No, not that one. But I know a lot of people that did. But she said Coach Prime didn't win until year 2 at Jackson State. And me being the Deion fan that I am, me being the BWB, I feel that it is my duty to point out that those numbers are a little flawed with Jackson State, because that first year the first physical year that he was at Jackson State and has a record on the books, it was the COVID year. The SWAC played in the spring. He did not have his full roster. Yes, it counts, because if I say it's a COVID year, it doesn't count. That takes away the Bama championship, and I think they fully deserve to win it because they went through the same things that everybody else went through. But it is not an accurate depiction of what Deion's record would have been at Jackson State if he had his full squad that first year that he was there. So I just want to point that out. I know he didn't quote unquote win until season 2, but there's more to it than just looking at it and saying, oh, well, they only won 4 games at Jackson his first season. It's just not the whole story.
All right, so Prime Effect wants that problem. She said, if you want to come get it. And I'm also let me piggyback on that a little bit to say, hey, if we keep saying COVID year with their teams that didn't have their whole roster, were there teams that also had a similar situation as Coach Prime? Because I say
this?
Teams also had to have everybody else had to show up. So if his record was his record, then we got to just accept it as it is.
Right, but all the point I'm trying to put out there is that the guys that he was coaching that year, because again, this was during the spring, they were not all the guys that he recruited and brought into Jackson. So it's like the Bill Parcells statement talking about Jared Jones. He wants me to be the chef, but I can't go to the grocery store and buy my own groceries.
Mm.
So I got to give Deion some credit and say when he had the guys he wanted at Jackson State, he won. When he was playing with some of those leftovers from the previous year, he
Mm.
wasn't as successful.
So
And
then we
you
can say
can
the same thing about CU because a lot of the guys, even though he kind of tried to flip the roster, he still had a lot of those other
no,
guys.
no, he had 70 transfers come in. That was not the same roster. That was nowhere near the same roster
I
that
mean,
he
it was.
had at Colorado as the previous year. There were only what 10 OGs or OCs, original OBs, original buffs or whatever they call themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a totally different scenario. The COVID thing, I can give him a pass for,
But
but
you're
his
not gonna
first
give
year at
him. You're not.
Colorado,
You're not gonna give him.
no,
You ain't gonna give him
because
the other one.
he had a full season from the standpoint of every other coach that started, every other coach that started with a new team in January, December, whenever it was, they went through the exact same things as he did. He, if
Mm.
I'm not mistaken, he was one of the only new coaches that started at Jackson in the SWAC that year. So again, he was dealing with a whole new, a totally different roster than what he would be coaching for or
Got
coaching
it.
at, coach being the coach of, for the next year.
But Harry, let me just say this real quick. All that just the COVID stuff, because we got a whole lot of grandpas playing. For example, grandfather of Cam Rising, who's still in.
Mm-hmm.
That I think that when people think that I'm even saying, oh, the Buffs going, and I've never said the Buffs are going to suck, by the way. But I think next year we're going to get some real shifts going on. I want to curious what Ron and Bishop and even Phil as well as Tim have to say that when all those COVID year people are gone and their eligibility is gone, and you now have fresh people that in the portal going on. I believe you're going to see more parity where there's going to be more of a clustering than it is where I still think you have your top teams, but I still think, maybe outside of the top 25, they're going to start clustering because a lot of those, I call them grandpas that were playing are going to go. What do y'all think?
Well,
I
I
agree.
think the top 15 is going to stay the top 15. I think it's going to be top heavy, and then anything after that really won't matter. I think those normal top 15 teams will remain who they are. I don't think this new way of doing stuff in college football is actually going to help the smaller schools.
Well, let's understand that since that ruling with the NCAA, there's going to be a lot more that's added to the formula. So I would say that I agree with the gentleman that it will be top heavy, but you're also going to need to be able to manage, have a financial advisor that can manage the whole output like an NFL team going
Hold on,
forward.
right, hold on. Before we go, I just got to get one thing we're talking about. Bishop, why the Cowboys name also called the Pokes?
Oh my gosh! Don't do it. Don't.
You mean Okie Life?
Don't. Come on, DC.
Yes.
Stop playing. Stop playing. You got to preface this whole conversation with saying pause first. Don't even do it, DC. Let's
Be-
move on.
I, I, uh, let me leave that alone.
In
Yes,
three
leave.
in 3 years, in
DC
three
is up to
years,
no good today.
in 3 years, Harvard University will be in the top 10.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Okay, Ron, wait a minute now. All right, are you okay? Do we need to come do a wellness check on you?
Hey, listen, man. With the money that they could throw around, if their alumni real set got together and said, "Listen, let's show these guys," and they started throwing that money around, whether it's through NILs or collectives, they could buy a team with the best of them.
I mean, you got some
Notre
logic. I
Dame
mean,
would be number
there's some
one.
logic. There is some logic there because they got like what $1 billion endowment, $15 billion endowment, or something like
It's
that. So
it's up there.
if they wanted
Notre
to
Dame.
invest in their sports, they could. I can see the logic. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I can see the
Uh,
logic.
I right. I don't think it's going to happen either. But the logic of with the money that's being
Yeah,
injected into college sports, And what's going to be next? Right now, football is the headline in the paying of the amateur athlete. Basketball, are they going to come around? Baseball, how about track and field?
It's only going to be your revenue sports. It'll be basketball and football. After that, maybe baseball or softball. But base at this point, the NCAA, the Power Four conferences in college football and college basketball, they just need to break off, do their own thing, so they don't have to follow the same sanctions with Title IX and all that kind of stuff, paying for the non-revenue sports. They need to break off and do their own thing and let college sports get back to being college sports. I just don't think that college football and college basketball, because they're so revenue heavy, will ever be able to shake off everything they need to shake off and just be what they're eventually going to be until they completely cut themselves off from the NCAA.
So let me bring on Warren G to join the conversation, guys, and then I'll read what Super Surfer Boy says.
Regulator, what up, Warren?
Warren G,
Salute,
welcome to the
salute.
show. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you
Man,
for calling in.
salute, sir. Thank you for having me on your panel. Everybody on the panel, salute. Everybody in chat, salute. Please like, subscribe, and share this content. Let's get the algorithms up. Let's get it. Let's go. So,
Appreciate
man,
you.
what's going on right now, man?
So-
I understand.
So we're
So-
talking right now. I think we're kind of it's free for all Friday. So we got into the conversation is about. If somebody let me know, Phil, were y'all talking about the whole idea of the 12 team playoff system?
Well, DC made the statement that once the grandpas leave from the COVID years, there will be more parity in college football.
The problem that you have with that is that um what they're wrestling with is baseball and basketball. Because it, uh, like you have your Duke. Duke is part of what, the ACA? I mean ACC.
Yeah, ACC.
Right. You have your basketball teams like the Duke, your North Carolinas, your Syracuse. When it comes to basketball, the top is a little different from your football. And so that's what they're trying to wrap their hands around. And you got to understand that baseball is still a American pastime sport. So don't just throw baseball on the back because we don't too much like it, or I'm not a big baseball person, but you know what I mean, right? So you have to look at those dynamics when it comes to college as well.
I just want to be clear. My argument wasn't that nobody likes baseball. My argument that it's not a revenue driving sport. If you look at the top sports when it comes to revenue, I'm gonna make up some Negro math here and say that 65% of college revenue comes from college basketball and college football. The rest, you just throw it up in the air and see where the puzzles fall on the ground.
I take offense to that whole Negro math thing because I think like some of the math geniuses in the world are Negroes. So if you're not going to be spitting facts, don't add Negro to it.
You're right. Most of them are Muslims. That's where we get our algebra from. You're right.
All right. So, but listen, I wanted to pivot a little bit to talk about retention a little bit because Surfer Boy brings it up. Harry, people don't understand the capital requirements. This new transfer system has created. The super rich schools have established retention departments. It's going to squeeze schools who are already behind. So let's talk about retention a little bit because I did a video on OSU. They're stacked and they're bringing back almost everybody. I don't know how they're able to bring back everybody because I think, Phil, you said, and I quoted you in the video as well as saying that every year schools are going to have to recruit their own players. I thought that was a pretty poignant thing to say. But we talked a little bit about retention at CU as well. And CU is, as far as we know, CU has been fighting the whole retention game for a minute now. So the idea of having a retention department, what do y'all think about having a retention department? I can start with you, Warren G. Should CU, is everybody doing this retention department or setting something up to where we can make sure that we're understanding each person's needs before the season ends, and then we start seeing people disappear?
We
So
have.
we brought in they brought in a I forget his name, big guy, the real big guy. What's his name?
Oh, that guy that nobody can pronounce his name. Oh man,
Guy from
I know who
he
IMG Academy.
I know who you're talking about
no
too. Yeah, the
no,
IMG guy.
I don't know if he came from mine, but I know that he was an NFL
He's an
player.
NFL guy too. Yeah,
Yeah, he deals with the social, they call him social some type of administrator. That's
but
part
I
of
thought he
what,
was here to be a liaison from guys for the NFL. I thought he was a pathway for guys to understand where they
well,
are now and then where they're trying to head to
right,
in the NFL.
the underlining behind that is he's trying to help retain some of those players because so that they get their agenda or they get the players agenda or they get the players goals and try to help him with his goals, hoping that that'll help him stay with the team. You understand
Oh,
what I'm
okay. So
saying?
you think that's going to be like a residual effect of what his
Yes,
position is?
I
Okay,
think that that's going to be part of
that's a
what
good
he's
point.
trying to do. Um, I
Is it
think it's going
George
to be
Hagerman? Hagerman? Is it George
yeah.
Hagerman that you're thinking
I
about?
think yeah, yeah,
Something like that. I mean,
yeah,
man, he's gonna have to
yeah. I
tell us
forget the
his name
name,
again.
but he's a real big guy. So I mean, and you know when you walk into him, he's the biggest guy there that I've seen so far.
Yeah, that's him,
Outside,
George
yeah,
Hagerman.
yeah. So that was, I think he's there for that purpose. The only thing with this is the problem with the top teams like the Alabamas is they got so many 5 stars on their team, and they got a pile of them that they may not be. They I guess they can, but I don't know if they're gonna be able to keep them because you know some of these 5 stars are gonna want to play, and then you got teams provided that CU is winning, provided that Oklahoma State is winning, and these other teams in the Big 12 that are winning are going to want to say, you know what, I'm moving on. But they getting just as much airtime. They getting just as much NFL um, players. They got many. They got just as many players going into the NFL as you guys do. But I'm sitting over here for 2 or 3 years before I can play. I might as well go over there. You
That's
know, it's
true.
gonna be hard for them because they stockpile so much of it. You know.
All right, so let's get Ron Tate's idea. And Prime Effect 101 says the retention department is naturally integrated into the recruiting program or recruitment program, right? Yeah, I
Yes.
mean recruiting,
Yes.
yes. That answer, the easy answer is yes. But I think now in the light of the transfer portal, the NIL deals, I think now they have to. It was something where you kind of like didn't necessarily have to talk about it before, but I think there has to be a light that's shown on retention. It has to be a priority now because you have to know what guys' mindsets are way before the season is over, because you don't know what guys are thinking. You don't know how happy or unhappy they are as far as where the NIL is, how much playing time they're getting, and how they feel. Because Dylan Edwards was like, "I'm gone," and we don't. I just watched a Dylan Edwards interview. And in that interview, he was like so shook. I don't know if he didn't want to say anything, but I'm like, yeah, but you still didn't tell us why you left. Like it's weird. You know what I'm saying? Like it was weird. And
He
but
did.
anyways,
But go ahead.
go
I,
ahead,
I, I,
Ron.
I respect it. I respect that he didn't try to throw CU under the bus. If he could have, I respect the
You
fact
saw
that
the
he didn't.
interview?
No, I didn't. But just going based off of
I
what you
did.
said.
I did.
What?
Yeah, I
Okay.
saw it also.
He
I,
he
I
he laid out why
I
he
did
left.
too. Yeah, I
he
did too.
didn't he didn't lay it out, and he was kind of shook up. He kind of choked
He
up a little bit too. And
he
I read
did.
a lot of things into it, and I'll play the interview later on when we get an opportunity, if we get
All
an
right.
opportunity. But yeah, but let me get your thoughts on retention, Ron. What we need to do at CU to really bolster our retention efforts.
I think Coach Prime started this year with his hiring, the coaches that he's hired. You know, a lot of players talk when they play college football or D1 sports. Their dream is to play it professionally.
Mm-hmm.
So what Coach Prime has done is amassed pretty much a professional coaching staff with NFL experience. So I think he's thinking ahead, thinking that, okay, if this is where you want to go, come here and be taught by the players that have done it, by those individuals that have done it. And I think that's part of his plan to deal with his retention. And as they grow in the organizational part of and improve on their NILs or their collectives and rolling things like that out for their players, and the NCAA starts giving them more of a strict guideline for players. Players will come in and then, play, have the love for the game, and have a vision, and at the same time being compensated for working hard for what they want. That's what Coach Prime, I think, is preaching, and I think he set his coaching staff up. That's how I believe he's attacking or dealing with retention. He has a coaching staff that's there to give you guys an example of what you need to do and what you need to be to play at the next level.
All right, Tim. What are your? I mean, from what you just said, I don't know that that's not a good strategy to me as far as a retention program is concerned, because I don't know that guys care much. I know we've heard the 127 law. We can call it the 127 law right now, but I don't know that the 127 law is really penetrating the way that it needs to be penetrated, because pause, but but it's like I get it, but when you got teams that are like Florida State, and I mean, when I look at the list of teams that actually put a lot of guys into the NFL draft, or even got guys drafted, I'm just like, well, okay, the 127 was there, but how much is that? I don't know that that's a plan. For me, I don't think that's a plan. I just think it's just part of the process, but I don't think it's a retention plan. What are your thoughts, Tim?
I kind of agree with Ron, but I look at it like, even though he's bringing in Coach Prime tries to offset a lot of this NIL stuff, so he want to get you in and show you how to make money, but want to have a love for the game. But I feel like until the NCAA get a hold on things, then I think it's gonna require winning at the end of the day in order for them to get a hold on their retention thing. Because if not, then CU, it's gonna be a recycling process for them. And like these other schools, Texas A&M, Notre Dame, some of these big schools, Alabama, they can afford it. And CU just gonna be pushed further and further down.
But okay, but I mean, but should that, like, I'm coming to you, DC. Should there be an effort to say, all right, this is what we're gonna do to try to get ahead of this whole retention idea? Because at the end of the day, it can be in your mind, but until you bring it to the forefront and make it a priority, I don't know that all of these other things and trying to make sure we got a bunch of NFL players and NFL coaches. I mean, I don't know that that's a plan. So DC, you help me out. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
All right, so I will tell you, as a commander, one of the things we were judged on is our retention rate, how many soldiers that we kept. If it was too high, that was not going to be a good thing, because it costs anywhere between 60 to 75,000 to train each new soldier. So if you can imagine how that can, and our retention rate went from around 20% to some organizations. I always had a pretty good one, but some of them had 30%. Losing 30% of your people, I hate to say to folks, but that impacts your readiness, that your ability to do your job. All right. So what we had was retention NCOs. We had people, their whole sole job was related to assisting to keep those individuals. Brian Kelly talked about that at the coach at LSU. the retention is going to be an issue. And you heard Lane Kiffin too. What they're going to have to do, here's the thing, folks, here's other than money, the number one thing, and I understand we got all those pretty gold jackets and experience in Colorado, but you got 22 slots on that field, 11 on one side and 11 on the other. If they're not playing, they're not going to stay. So if you have your strategy based upon heavy portal, you're basically saying who I get in, I'm going to play, or they're not going to stay. That's the main thing. The same thing with what we experience. If I couldn't get a soldier to a school, if I couldn't get a soldier to certain things, I was not going to retain them. So Colorado is going to have to go. How do I get these people in rotation on the field? I think next year helps them because they're not playing. You know, when they came into the pack, when Coach Prime came in, Pac-12, all those hard teams that affected them. You couldn't hardly get some of your backups in to get those needed reps. You got the same thing going on this year. Next year, your schedule is favorable where you do have some cupcake games where you can get people in, get them developed, and I think that works. But it is going to be, I hate to say it, you're going to have to also cop up some money because if somebody's willing to take your second string that showed flashes of brilliance, you now have to do what you can to protect that individual.
Harry, if I can I elaborate what DC talking about?
Yes, please go
So
ahead.
so Prime yesterday made it clear that out of the 17 freshmen that came in, 13 of them had playing time. That's one. So he did get freshmen. Freshmen did see playing time last year. I just want to make that clear. The other thing is that I don't know if you noticed that there are about 8 Colorado players who are now in a commercial, and I think it's for Boost Mobile. I don't know if you guys caught that part of it. Have you seen that?
I have not
Anybody
seen it
see?
myself. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
So it's on Reach the People Media. They're featuring they're and Tyler Brown is in it. It's uh what's that funny white I forget his name. That's on defense. The white guy that likes to joke around, have
Yeah, I
fun.
know who you're talking about, but I don't know his name. I
Yeah,
just know he
yeah,
be giving the word of the day on Willow.
yeah. So yeah, a bunch of players they're featured. They're supposed to be featured in a commercial by Boost Mobile for the phone. That's another thing that helps with retention. Second, if you're Colorado was ranked amongst the top 3 colleges that get eyes on get viewership. Their viewership is out of the roof. So if you want to be seen on if you want to be seen by the scouts or anything like that, that helps with retention for me. I mean, that's what I think.
So if I can jump in real quick, Harry, I
Yeah,
think
yeah. Phil, it's your turn to go give us your thoughts, and then you can give me your idea of what type of program we need to have. Go ahead.
okay, yeah. So as far as retention is concerned, I think it's like a tiered approach. It is gonna initially start with the relationships that the players have with their position coach, and the training staff because that's who they're going to spend the most time with. Then they need to have a good relationship with the coordinator for whatever side of the ball they're on because they need to make sure they know how they fit into the scheme that coordinator is going to run. So if you're a wide receiver, if you're more of a speed guy, okay, what kind of plays are you going to dial up for me to let me get down the field? If you're more of a possession guy that can go over the middle, okay, what plays can you draw up for me, right? And then obviously the relationship with Deion. You want to make sure that he knows who you are. You have a relationship with him. He knows that you're gonna come to practice every day and work, right? But then from the coaching staff, you're going to have to recruit your own players throughout the year. You're going to have to be a good you're going to have to be able to gauge the temperature of your team and each individual player. Yes, you know you're going to lose some players. It's the nature of the beast, but you want to make sure that those ones that you really don't want to lose, you can find a way to keep them keep them with the program. And then lastly, like everybody's already been saying, winning. Nobody wants to ride the pine on a losing organization. A lot of guys stay at Georgia. A lot of guys stay at Bama, Ohio State, Michigan, and ride the pine because those teams are winning. And maybe they only need 1 year to pop off and have a good season and go to the league. But if you're gonna be second and third string on a losing team, that's not gonna be as fun. So they're going to have to win at the very least, like 7 to 8 games a season.
All right, guys. So as I
Hey, don't
promised,
forget Bishop. Don't forget Bishop.
that's our triple B's. All right,
Yeah,
so I did promise for him to play this interview. Let me play
yeah.
let
Go
me
ahead.
play let me play the clip on Dylan Edwards' interview, and then I can get your thoughts on this. But I feel like let me just preface this by saying, listen, at the end of the day, do y'all really think that we're gonna get somebody to really tell us the truth, or are we just gonna be chasing a rabbit for that forever, or chasing a unicorn forever? Because I don't know that anybody's ever gonna tell us the truth.
Harry, would
Who's to
you?
say the kids that went on Whitlock weren't telling the truth?
Well, I mean that's
Harry, would
that's why I say we're
would
not
you
really
gonna let?
they're not really gonna tell us the truth. Go ahead, DC. What are you saying?
Would you gonna let Bishop cook? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, let me cook real quick, bro. Okay, understand. Coming from Sudanland, we realized with Lincoln Riley, we didn't have enough. In 2017, we lost on an off tackle run in overtime. So we had to go back to the and tear it down to the studs. Now that we have understand how the actual game is won, the actual support of the Soul Mission, which is our department that handles retention and also mental the mental aspect of the game, making sure that each sport has someone that helps them if they're having mental concerns. That plays a big part, making sure that we have internships now. There's a lot that plays into it to actually develop a young man so that they stay with what you got, along with winning.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'm a proponent, and I support anything that has to do with when we get these young men in at the end of the day, because now we're in a whole new thing. Because football used to be where you go to a school, that jersey, the number on the back of your jersey, the fact that you have a name on. People used to respect the program, but nowadays it's like the NIL is ruining that for the purists. And like I'm with the new people where, hey, if it is that's where it's going, let's all go there. But let's all understand that with this new phase of football, there has to be new departments that are formed to make sure that we are adhering to whatever is happening. Because if we just gonna react to what's going on and we're not proactive, then we'll be one of those schools that's left behind. And I don't think that it's a good thing to be left behind, especially when we're new CU fans. All right, so forgive me if the mouth is not moving correctly because I have to play it on my phone. Let me play a little bit, and then y'all let me know if y'all can hear the audio. All right, and then and if not, then I'll just play it on my phone again. Let's try it this way again. I don't know if it's gonna work, but let's just try it.
Yeah, no audio here.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, no audio.
No, I can't hear it.
Huh?
Cannot hear
No.
it.
All right, so I guess it's because of this microphone. Something must be up with this microphone, but it is what it is. So we'll just deal with it like this. I'll play just like this, and then we'll go from there. Let me get it queued up, and then I'll just press play from my phone. All right, here it goes.
Then you had your senior season. You one of the best football players in the country, certainly one of the best football players in the state of Kansas. And then right before signing day, you decommitted from Notre Dame and ultimately committed and signed with Colorado and with Coach Prime. Tell me about that decision. What went into flipping that late in the game and to ultimately signing with Deion?
Yeah, so what's crazy is after I had committed to Notre Dame,
I didn't know the schooling requirements. So school like Kansas State from Notre Dame, it's two different. Like you have to have credits in high school or something like that. So my senior year wasn't the normal senior year a player or anybody would have. Really, I was taking college courses. I took a lot of math classes and stuff like that just to, go to Notre Dame. I remember I even had to meet my tutor every day in my senior year just to deal with all the stuff I was dealing with, like school-wise, just to get it done and just to even go to a school like that. And I ended up passing all my classes, but at the end of the day, I just felt like what seemed right to me. And so what ultimately led me to make that decision to go to Colorado was, I'm sorry, this is my first time ever talking about it. You're good, man. It's all good. Oh my gosh. So Coach Prime coached me when I was little, when my family and I lived in Dallas, Texas. We played for an organization called The Truth, which he was the head of the organization. It was his team. And so he coached with my dad on the flag football team I was on. And he was just like, I was always around him. Like, we would go to his house. Like, I'm in his arms. Like, I'm in his arms. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I got pictures in my home with me and him just smiling and stuff like that. Just, like, that was like family to me. Absolutely. Like, back when we lived in Texas. So, that pretty much just was like, okay, if he's going to offer me right now, 1 week before signing day, maybe God wanted me to just go here and just, figure out my life from there because I just felt like it was faith. I just wanted to just take a leap of faith, and I did it. And I think now that you tell that story about your relationship with Deion, when you were getting recruited by the Oklahomas and the Nebraskas and all these big time schools,
so let's take it in stride. Jackson State was always. Let's take it in stride. Y'all can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So thoughts on. I guess Tim Smith, you can start this off because this is your guy. You pay attention to him. For me, when I'm listening to this, I feel like I'm still on the side of knowing that something transpired, right? Well, I'll play the clip where he talks about leaving Prime in a second, but what are your thoughts when you hear him like almost choking up like this, as far as like what it really meant for Prime to offer him? That's Tim Smith.
Oh, that's to me?
Tim Smith, yes, Tim.
Yeah. I mean, what that says to me is like his heart is in two places at the same time. And Coach Prime gave him his start, and he really wanted to help Coach Prime accomplish that goal. He really wants to play with Shador, the guys that he started with at a young age, a very young age. Now he's in a different location where he really understands a lot more as a young man, which is in Kansas. He established another set of friends in Elite Seven, which one of them just so happened to be the quarterback at Kansas State. Like, he played with him. He really wants to play with him. So I feel like I'm not gonna go too far in depth on it. Let some other guys talk about it. And wait till you get to the second half of that. But I just feel like his heart is in two different places at the same time.
All right, so let me take one more, and who wants to go? I just raise your hand if you who's that?
Bishop.
All right, go ahead, Bishop. Your thoughts.
Hey, the truth of the matter, what I'm hearing is that this young man was missing Kansas, but he also loved Prime because Prime was part of his youth. So what he's basically letting you guys know that he was torn, but he always, you'll show more of the clip. He always was once they weren't playing, he was always keeping an eye on K-State.
So I'm still trying to queue it up. So Phil, let me get your thoughts.
Well, so one of the things that stood out in what he was saying was just talking about how many extra classes he had to take just to even get into Notre Dame. So I just want to take this moment to shout out Marcus Freeman just to be able to do the job he's been able to do at Notre Dame with all the different academic requirements they have. Secondly, I just want to I respect the young man for making the decision. Obviously, it was hard for him to leave Colorado. It was tough for him to make that change because he had already put in a year's work, you know, going for tutoring and passing all his classes to go to Notre Dame. And then the week before, he decides to go to Colorado. You know what I'm saying? So like, I respect the fact that he was able to make a hard decision. My homeboy sent me something the other day. He was like, sometimes you got to choose heartbreak to have peace. And I feel like he chose heartbreak to not go to Notre Dame to have a sense of peace to go play with Deion. And then I think in this offseason, he chose heartbreak again to have a sense of peace and go to Kansas State. So I just hope that wherever he is, he's happy and we can see him be the best version of him because I think he's going to be a very good college running back and hopefully an NFL running back.
All right,
And I'll say that
go ahead, DC.
one thing I've seen is that it's even like I'll use relationships and transition to it. And when I mentor young men, I say, you know what? More than likely, the type of woman you like is not the type of woman you need. And what that means is that's a hard reality to go. I really like this place that I am, but maybe there was just some because think about it, it wasn't last year, but maybe some fundamental differences with Coach Schumer. You know what was going on, or you just felt like, hey, I am at a manhood space where I need to be over here, and I don't think we have to just wish them well. But that I know he obviously, you know, it's like your heart wants something, but you know your head is like this is best, and I think that's what's going on.
Well, I want you to keep in mind that his father used to play for Kansas City State. I mean Kansas State. So that's not that plays a big part of it. His girlfriend, who he has a relationship with, is in Kansas State. Family is in Kansas State. He was homesick. Let's just keep it a buck. Not
He couldn't get her
everybody.
in Boulder like Travis.
I'm sorry.
He
Well,
couldn't
he
get his girl
didn't.
in Boulder like Travis.
I don't know. I don't know that. All I know is that we all been away. We all been in places sometime where we felt homesick. I know when I was stationed in Germany and I was over there, and I didn't really know nobody. You get homesick. Let's just keep it a buck. He was homesick. I mean, it
Frankfurt
is
or
what it is.
Hamburg?
I was in Hanover, Baumholder. I'm sorry, Baumholder. I was stationed in Baumholder, Germany.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Hey,
Yeah.
and also to throw on top of that, he when he was at Colorado, one of his Kansas is kind of known for small small running backs, and
yes.
Dallas Cowboys recruited one of them last year. Yeah, last year from Kansas State. So he would always look at his videos before. I don't know if he said before the games or after the games, but he was always watching his highlight films too. But like my man said, at the end of the day, it boils down to being homesick, and I understand it.
Yeah, I
Can,
I
mean,
I
mean,
just
yeah.
want to
these,
make a
these
If
quick
guys,
you
point.
this
if that
guy is
I,
18.
if you
He's
fall for the
18
Okie
years
though, yeah.
old. He's 18 years old, guys. It ain't like he's 23, or 22, where we getting these transfers in.
Hey
This
Bishop,
guy
hold that
was
thought. Bishop, hold that thought. That's Bishop, right?
Warren. I'm sorry, bro. Yeah.
Warren, hold that thought. Let's play the final. Let's play the final clip, and then you can all go in and on all your assessments. Let's play this final thoughts right here. 1 second. And then Prime Effect says, do y'all think he's going to the league? We'll answer that question in a second. But let me play this real quick, and then we'll answer that.
Late April of this year, you entered the transfer portal, as we know. What led you to make that decision to say, okay, I think I'm ready to move on from Colorado, yeah, and find a new fit? What went into that decision making process? I just did a lot of, thinking and soul searching, and I learned a lot about myself from the time I was gone and from, Kansas, and I just thought about it real hard, and I just felt like it was my best decision to, you know, leave Colorado and do my own thing as far as go to a team that I know it would be good for me, a good fit for me, and that I could be great at, and that I could do something that's bigger than myself and just be a part of just a family. I don't know. I just felt like me and Avery on the same team. I know everybody, blows a lot of things out of proportion all the time when it comes to, me and him. But when I seen a lot of games, K-State football games, because I love his game. He's not just my friend. So I watched like all the games really, like in the hotel, because we always had late games. Mm-hmm. So I'd always just be in the hotel room and just looking at Avery Johnson just going crazy. Like my dog out there, like, man, we both doing it. We both D1 playing. And, just the spring was great, my game has definitely matured. I know a lot more than I did my freshman year, and I'm smarter out there on the field on how I play. And, I had to sit down with Shador and just telling him, my thoughts. And, he was just telling me to do what feels right, and I did what I felt was right. So you entered the portal.
All right, so hey, we'll go back to you. We'll start with you, Tim. That's what he was saying right there. As far as he just to me, I feel like it's the right thing to say. You know how I always give advice to the young men when they're leaving. I feel like you don't necessarily have to spill any tea. You don't necessarily have to say anything that's personal. You can kind of just, you can stay on the line of, hey, I wanted to go because I felt like this was the right place. But what are your thoughts on what you heard? But what I heard is different. Okay, let me just tell you what I heard. What I'm hearing is I still believe that it was something more personal than just, you don't just leave a team. Somebody said it earlier. He was home. Well, you're saying that he's homesick, right?
Well, it's other things that I feel like too, but go ahead.
Right. Let me give you this scenario about being homesick. You're getting, all the love. You're getting everything that you need, and you're telling me that you're homesick, and the homesick is so much. The homesickness is so much that you're gonna leave everything on the table to go to go somewhere else. If that's the case, then a lot of people will be making decisions based on home. I don't think it was a homesick decision. I think it was part of it. It made the decision to go back to K-State. It made that decision much easier to go back to K-State because like he says in this interview that Georgia called, Ole Miss called, a lot of the other teams that try to recruit him called. So yeah, homesickness was part of the reason why he went back to K-State, but the reason why he left Colorado, I'm just not going to buy that. It was about homesickness. You don't just leave an opportunity, especially if everything is going well, and just go back to somewhere because you're homesick. That's just my thoughts. But what are your thoughts, Tim?
Well, he said that if you listen at the interview, he talk about. Well, I'll put to you like this: when he was little, I'm gonna go back to that. When he was young, very young, he played for Coach Prime. Okay, they established a relationship then. Then they left Dallas and they went to Kansas. Him and his family moved to Kansas. Now he's middle school, high school,
And playing with
and
Avery Johnson.
he's playing with Avery Johnson, and it's like you don't remember. You remember some things from early childhood, but you remember more from from middle school and on up. So therefore, like I feel like saying that somebody's not homesick is crazy to me because
No, he's homesick, but I don't think that's the reason why he left Colorado. I think he's homesick, and he went to college. He went to K-State after he has made the decision. After whatever transpired. I think it made the decision to go back to K-State easy because he was homesick.
I think that he went back to K-State because he really wanted to play with Avery Johnson. Shador is leaving and going to the NFL. So why not play with another elite quarterback that I know?
Okay.
I understand K-State. My father played for K-State. Any child wants to follow in their father's footsteps. Not only that, when he was younger, growing up, they said Avery Johnson and him sat in the same stadium. Now getting a chance to run out of that tunnel. You know what I mean? So
is Avery about to go to the NFL? I forgot what I did.
No, he's just a sophomore.
Right.
He's a sophomore like Dylan.
So So then the argument is not really that crazy. It's like they got time. they got time. If you want to leave after Shador leaves, you know what I'm saying? Maxim. I'm just saying that part of the argument just it's kind of like I don't know.
Hey,
but remember, everybody's tolerance is different. Everybody, like even like with pain tolerance, everybody's different. So like I may be homesick, and I'm homesick, but I ain't finna leave. And then you got the same person sitting beside me. Tim may be just as homesick as I am, but he like, nah, man, I'm about to go. And then you may have somebody like a DC that's like, well, man, let me ride it out for another year. Or then you may have a run that say, well, I'm gonna stay all 4 years even though I'm homesick. Like it's gonna hit everybody different.
So why go through the spring? Why go through the spring why linger it and go through the spring and go through all of the things that he went through instead of just making that decision earlier?
It sounds like he didn't want to make a hasty decision. It seems like he actually sat down and had made a thorough decision, unlike some guys that go in the portal outside of CU included. So I appreciate the fact that it seems like he really did take everything into consideration instead of just saying, oh, I'm homesick, I'm finna be out. Because I would much rather him stay and mean it.
I think y'all are making part of my argument to where I'm saying he really wanted to stay with Colorado, but because whatever transpired that we're never going to know about, right? The real thing that really transpired because of that pushed him to the boundaries. That's that thing that transpired, and we would never know that thing, right?
Hey,
I think we put something to be salacious when it's not. It really could be that simple. I think we're looking for the salacious story. It really could be that simple.
But why salacious? It has nothing to do. I'm not trying to infuse some type of salacious idea. I'm just saying something transpired, and that made his decision easy for him to just say, okay, I mean, I'm already homesick, so y'all do what y'all gonna do. I'm out of here. If you listen to the whole interview, like you'll pick up certain things because
I go back and listen to the whole interview.
Yeah, if you listen to the whole interview, you'll pick up a few more things that kind of give you the idea. Like, okay, I know he's telling the truth, but if I was to put a lie detector on this kid, I know that the truth is a little skewed on how he's presenting it.
He's telling the truth.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Harry: are you assuming that it's money? Because he stated.
No, he said that. No, he said he
competition.
made it clear. He said, I'm not. He said, whatever people are thinking, the reason why I left for that other thing, he said that's not the truth. And I believe that part. Remember, I told y'all in the beginning when he left, I told y'all off rip that this was not about money. And then he cleared that up. He cleared that up.
It wasn't about competition. He cleared that up too.
And I said that. I said this is not about competition. I said that exactly. So he cleared up everything that I said in the beginning. I said this is personal. When he talks about Coach Prime holding him, when he chokes up when he talks about how Coach Prime coached him, and he had his boys from the time when they were in Pee Wee playing with the flag football. He chokes up when he's talking about that stuff. That's why I said what transpired is a lot more personal than we're thinking. It has nothing to do with competition or money, because he won out the competition when he had Smoke and he had McCaskill. He won out the competition. He started as a true freshman. So we know it's not about that, and we know it's not about the money. So this thing had to go a little deeper, and it was a lot more personal than people are letting out.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever liked two girls at the same time?
Oh, come on.
No, I'm being honest, bro. Like, I'm being real honest right now. Have you ever liked two females at the same, or anybody on this panel ever liked two females at the same time, had the option of choosing either or? Now it's
No,
like,
but you
okay,
keep in mind that you were already with one of the other girls. You was already with one of them. So
it's
it's
the
not.
same
So
thing.
you just. So it wasn't a matter of you're starting from scratch because he had Notre Dame as one of those girls. He had
No, no,
his
no, no, no,
hometown as
no.
K-State.
He was with Prime already,
No,
right?
It was on his the on signing day. He flipped from Notre Dame to Prime,
Right. That's what I'm saying. But
and then from Prime. So you can't. It's not. It's not.
no,
He
no, no,
wasn't
no.
choosing from scratch.
I use this scenario for a reason. He was with
If
Prime in his early childhood.
that's right.
He lived in Kansas in his middle school on up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, yeah.
he chose Colorado. So he got love for both, is what I'm saying. That's why I use the scenario. Have you ever liked two girls at the same time and had to choose between the both? Excuse me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But what I'm telling you is, I'm pushing back on the idea of once you make the decision, because you had an opportunity to make a decision on each one. You went from Notre Dame, then you went from K-State, who offered you first. Then you switched from K-State to Notre Dame, and then on signing day, then you flipped from Notre Dame to Prime. So that your first two loves, which is K-State and Colorado, they're now in the picture, right? But you're
So
with Colorado, which is the other girl. If you're with the other girl first, then why are you getting an eye for K-State? That's where we are at on this conversation. I'm like, all right, so
well, you
were
know,
you really feeling the
Harry,
other
you
girl
been
while you were
messy.
with me? It's like those movies where the guy is with one girl, but he's taking advice from the other girl, like Avery John. He's taking advice from the other girl, and then at the end of the movie, we
we're
found
not
out that the girl that he was taking advice from was his real love to all
we're
along.
not talking. We're talking about a young man that's not even 20 yet. I know at the age of 18 and 19, I didn't quite understand what I wanted in life. And, I thought I did until I got there. When I was in Baumholder, Germany, miles and seas away from my family, I got homesick, bro. I just couldn't leave because, uh, I might end up in jail, if I left, what I'm saying? But
I'm telling you, the
and
homesick idea is true. I give y'all that, but the homesick idea is only it was only interjected when he was already making his decision to leave CU. The homesick idea is not the original idea that got him to
well,
leave CU.
Harry
I get
B.
what you say. He's telling the truth, just
Can,
not the whole truth. We just don't know
right.
what
Yeah,
that
Harry B.
he's
second part of the
definitely
truth
telling the truth.
is.
He is definitely telling the truth. You can tell he's very emotional about why he had to leave Prime. If you really pay attention to the interview and how he chokes up talking about Prime, he really, I really still believe in my heart of hearts that somebody broke his heart. Like somebody really like said something that was out of bounds or did something that was out of bounds to break his heart because he felt like he already made some crazy. He's a very stable guy, right? So he felt like he already made some really questionable decisions to choose Notre Dame over K-State and then to choose Prime in the last second. And then after making all of those decisions where he felt like this is home and these are my family and this is where I'm going to really do it. And then he felt like something happened. And then whatever that thing is, that he felt really hurt. That's why I feel like he was like, you know what? If y'all going to do this, then it's an easy decision to go to K-State because Ole Miss is a good program. Georgia's a good program. The SEC come calling. Those are good programs. So the homesick part comes after the hurt decision to leave.
Hey, Harry,
Yeah.
you being messy. Now, you just said earlier that when you want to leave on good terms, you know that it was some hurtness because it was a lot going on when he was making the decision in that running back room. So we understand that's in the formula,
Mm-hmm.
but ultimately, once all that transpired, it was up on the young man to make the final decision after he did some soul searching. But yeah, we know there's underlying stuff, but understand we just said you want to leave a place, on good grace. So yeah, he's not telling the whole story.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be messy on purpose. I'm just saying, like, when you listen to talk, because he's the only person that when he talks about Prime, he's choking up. Everybody else is talking, and it's like you can still you can tell that relationship is still, you know what I'm saying, it's still dear to him. So that's why I say, even though he's saying that he was, he's staying on the lines of just trying to make sure he's staying professional, which is good. That's what I said. But I said we're never going to know the true reason. This is part of the reasons, but I don't think it's the true reason. But hey man,
hey Harry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I want to make a comment on Dylan. If you guys still have time.
Yeah, we got time. So go ahead and make your comment so we can close out.
Okay. I believe as when he came out of high school as a young man, you're kind of unsure about your ability, your skills. You know what you did in high school,
yeah,
and what everyone and all the accolades that you had. And I believe he chose a safe place for himself with someone that he was familiar with, a safe place on the next level so that he could prove himself. Well, he did prove himself. And he felt once he felt that, okay, yeah, I'm comfortable with this, I'm all right with this, and he went back to where he probably was his first choice overall.
It was.
So
they were the first to offer him.
And even though he was committed to Notre Dame, I believe his heart has always been at Kansas because that's family to him, like he said.
Agree.
So I just believe once he got comfortable, I don't think he was running from anything. I just believe he went where, like he said, where it was just boiled down to it was the best fit for him.
Yeah.
That's where I see it. Just that simple.
I agree. I totally agree. I don't think he from jump. I always said that he was never running for anything. I just feel like, the fact that if you read more into it, like, the relationship with Prime holding him and then not telling Prime that he was about to leave. And you know what I'm saying?
I disagree because he made it clear that he talked to Shador. So they already knew, and Bucky said that they already knew that it might be something. So I'm pretty sure.
Well, I mean,
Prime
I'm just going off of what the media, what was put out, because Prime, I think Prime and Uncle Neely, they also said some, things like,
Well, Neely said something. Prime didn't really say anything about it.
Well, Prime did actually. Prime said in the media, like, they didn't let him know, like, not letting your people know. Like, he didn't speak directly on it, but he said it. But all right, so we talked about the whole media day situation. We went over some interviews. Football is about to start, guys. Football is about to start, and we're gonna be doing some predictions, some subsequent shows that are coming up. We're gonna be doing some predictions. But right now, I just want to know, I want everybody to kind of give me your thoughts on how you think the biggest quote that I got from this whole media day is the fact that Coach Prime people said, Coach Prime sounded like a football coach. I want to ask you your final thoughts on how you think Colorado did through this whole media day, and then we're out of here. And I'm going to start with you, Tim Smith. How do you think this whole media day fared out for Coach Prime and his crew? We're starting
come back
with you.
To me, Harry. Come back
okay. All right, Warren G. We're gonna go to you. I would say last year we there was a whole lot of stuff coming out of the media day. Coach Prime could not make it this time because he had surgery. This time, you know what I'm saying? Like, this time around, the media is like, this a different feel, is a different tone. What are your thoughts on how Coach Prime and his team handled this media day?
I thought the Big 12 media day was trash compared to Pac-12 media day. The setup, I think I didn't like it. I think I got more out of the Pac-12. I got to see a little bit more from that. But with that being said, um, I thought Prime handled it professionally as possible. As possibly he could. He's a part of the Big 12, and he's got to boost up the Big 12 brand. And so I think he did. He went out there, did what he was supposed to do. I like the fact that um, other venues like the BYU and other stations did allow him to, invited him to sit down.
His audio went.
Yo, hey, B.
Yes.
Hey, what I saw, the truth of the matter is, I think he finally excelled and was in a place that he wanted to be, and that he can truly start showing him his real self.
What are you speaking on? Are you speaking on the media day or are you speaking on Dalen Edwards?
No, media day. I thought you were still talking about media day.
But who you say who in the place where he wants? Oh.
Yeah, I felt that Coach Prime felt more. It was more like I belong here. And
but have Coach Prime ever been in a situation where he doesn't believe he belongs somewhere?
No, I'm not saying. What I'm saying is, he felt at ease. He felt like, okay, I'm getting real comfortable. I like where I'm at.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Who was that talking?
I certainly can chime in.
That's me. It's Bishop.
Okay, Bishop. Let me go down the line though. Let me go down the line. Bishop. Okay, so Bishop, was that your? Okay, that's how you. Ron Tate, what is your thoughts on the media day?
Well, I thought Coach Prime hit a lot of the check marks that he wanted to hit. I think he got some information out about his program. I think he's gotten out there between him and Neely, speaking to the young guys that you are going to get an opportunity to play when you come there. I also think that he gave information on how the program is doing on and off the field. So I think he wanted to sound like a CEO of an organization, and that he had the organization under control, and that things were going according to plan. So I think he did well. And I think the attention that CU brings, I think that was a big plus for the Big 12. And to have Shador and Shiloh, because Travis didn't make it, was a plus for them also. Because those guys, those names are a draw.
All right. So before I bring you on, Phil, let's play this little clip real quick. This clip right here is Jake from the DMVR Buffs. He's kind of showing the day 2. The media is about to start. He's showing the different clips of he's showing the different booths for the different schools, and I mean, this is kind of like to show you the Prime effect, which this is what it said right here, the Prime effect. So all of those booths before anybody got to their booths or before the thing started, you can kind of see right here how many people are surrounding, Coach Prime's booth and where Colorado is at. Like, Colorado is obviously the talk of the town. Colorado is the talk of college football. But now Colorado brings a whole nother thing to this Big 12. And some of the quotes that came out of the Big 12 is that Yormark saying that, some really special things are going to happen by the Big 12 this year. So
we open for business.
We are open for business. So Phil, take it away. What are your final thoughts about Coach Prime and how they handle this whole Big 12 media day?
I think it's kind of weird that you're congratulating a professional for acting professional. I think there's some underlining things they're trying to say with that, but that's
Clear
neither
that
here nor
up for
there.
me. What do you mean congratulating a professional for being like a professional?
It's simply that. I mean, he is a coach. He's supposed to be a coach. So the fact that they're surprised that he's acting like one, quote unquote, acting like one, I
Sounding
think
like
that
a
says a
coach.
lot. Or sounding like a coach. I think that lets you know he didn't have the respect as a coach that some think he should deserve or some think that he should earn. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. You're right. I'm not gonna fight with you on that. But lastly, I think with the Big 12 media days, CU, while I think it was a win for CU because they were not the biggest story coming out of the Big 12. The majority of my timeline when it came to Big 12 media day was talking about Gundy and the Ollie Gordon DUI situation and how he
Hmm.
handled that and how he was. Anyway, that was the biggest story coming out of the media days. So I think that was the best thing that could have happened to Colorado.
So yeah, but let me just clear it up before we get a whole nother a narrative going. The idea of Prime sounding like a coach, you got to keep in mind the narrative has always we're always away from the narrative of who Coach Prime really is. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you got Paul Feinbaum saying he doesn't believe Coach Prime is a coach, and the fact that he's just got his name, he put his name up there as coach and stuff like that. People don't really, respect this guy as a coach, but he's been coaching for over 20 years and he's done it right. He's done it the right way. He's coached all the way. He came from being a superstar as a player, and then he started coaching all the way from Pee Wee. So ain't nobody give him anything, right? So the fact that people are saying so, and when we've heard from last year, just year number one, everything was always about the salacious stuff. So I just wanted to make sure that we understand everything has been about the salacious stuff that comes out of what Coach Prime says, and we don't focus enough on Coach Prime being a coach and talking football. So when I say that's one of
Agreed.
the best quotes that I got was that now we're pivoting to Coach Prime sounding like a coach. That means that we're not focusing on all the extra stuff that they wanted to focus on last year. So DC, your final thoughts.
All right. So first, let me go and throw out my grenade. The focus has to be on Colorado football. Does that not make sense? That the focus has to be on Colorado football, and we must get behind Coach Prime as we support Colorado football simultaneous because they invested and they believed in Prime, and I don't think it's fair to just be focused on supporting Prime, which we should, but also not making sure that university has what it needs and that support and that whole integration of we've come along as bandwagon buffs to love them. So I think that's got to be critical is that people change because that's how you build a program. You don't build a program where it's just going to be, I'm loving this guy, but I really am not forming that bond that I need to with a program. That's why you have some of the other programs that push back against you. I would say that for Coach Prime, for me personally, we are talking about Coach Prime, did a phenomenal job. That was what I was hoping to see. That was Coach Sanders and Prime mixed together, and I mean that was beautiful. So I'd like to see more of that. I don't want them to take away from who he is, but also in that environment, he came in and he owned it. He owned media day. He owned the side interviews that we've seen, and I look forward to seeing more of that because there is that. Though while we as fans may like the prime side, there is an aspect of it that likes and needs that Coach Sanders thing. So A plus to Colorado, and A plus to Coach Prime.
So I don't usually push back on final thoughts, but I got to push back on the first part of your conversation. Your comment is when you're saying, remember, it's got to be about Colorado football.
Yes.
What do you mean? Like where is that coming from?
Well, notice like most of the conversation that some, but not necessarily you have, is more so centered around the love for Coach Prime. That's true. That's you should have that. but also when he's building a program, because I believe Coach Prime can be a program builder. That means you have to set it up. Because like right now, let's just keep it real. If he were to leave next year, most folks would not be paying attention to Colorado football. But to leave his legacy to weigh the top of what it's going to be, even though it's already going to be phenomenal, there's got to be that marriage of the Coach Prime brand and the Colorado. And because that's how you build programs for years on down the line, that kind of stuff, making that connection to the two. That's all I'm saying. You see it, some of
But
it going on, but
this
not
is Big
enough.
12. We're talking about Big 12 Media Day, right? I just want to make sure that the
Yes, but he
conversation
was
is.
yes. That's why I
So
said Coach
where did
Prime
you
is.
get where did you get like Prime was being more promoted than Colorado?
Well, I wasn't saying that he was being more promoted. I was saying is that he was setting the tone, and that there continued a glue of pushing them to molding them together so they're simultaneous. We have to acknowledge that there is a more of a we love Coach Prime at a level 10, and Colorado is just the after effect. But I like that the merging was going on. That's what I
Harry,
like,
I'm
that the
sorry.
merging of the two were going on.
Turn the big hand back a little bit. I not only do I agree with Harry, but I was turning my head like that puppy that's not quite understanding that strange sound that I was hearing. You know, I mean, my goodness gracious, how can you? We're talking about the media day,
Right.
And what you're saying is, okay, everyone, stop cheering for Coach Prime, cheer for CU. You are driving or you are trying to carry a narrative that those that are cheering for CU and Coach Prime are looking at them separately. I see Colorado Buffaloes. I hear about the admissions, how that has gone up, and I cheer for Coach Prime, but I want Colorado to win. I want the Colorado basketball team to win. I want the baseball team to win.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted Dylan Edwards to do good on the track team. I wanted the track team to excel. So
you said the key word in there.
The narrative that
Not everybody is like that.
DC,
so what I was celebrating,
hold up. Oh, give me a second here. Give me a second.
But
DC
you keep saying versus yes.
You took your comments to say to me as a BWB BBB that I'm looking at Coach Prime, the coach of the CU football team, in and of himself. Yes, I cheer for the Lakers because LeBron James is there. I cheer for the Bulls because of Michael Jordan. But right. I cheer for the Bulls even though I cheer for the Bulls when Jordan went to Washington because I became a Bulls fan as a result of Michael Jordan being there.
Is it fair to question if you might be an outlier though?
I'm a CU fan because Coach Prime went to CU to coach there, and now I am a CU fan. I don't look at CU.
You don't necessarily separate the two.
As two fraternal twins. I don't. I see them as one.
My question, because it doesn't matter if I agree with DC or not, but I understand the point that he's trying to make. I think I understand you standing up for yourself. That's great, but I think you're more of an outlier when it comes to it. While you and Harry may feel that way about Colorado, I think the majority of Colorado fans right now, even if it's just 51%, are going to be more behind Deion than they're going to be Colorado. And I think I think to DC's point, he wants more people to be like you and be behind the Colorado brand and not just Deion. I think it's a fair assessment to say that there are a lot of people out there that are not in alignment with you.
I love that you have that feeling about Harry B and TLP Sports, but believe you me, there are a lot more Colorado fans that are cheering for Coach Prime and listen to TLP because they are Colorado fans than they are BWBs. We are not
mean,
the
we-
majority of fans rooting for
Yeah,
Colorado.
we are not. I would say we're not. I would definitely.
So you're
We're
so
definitely
you so
not.
you agree with what DC said? If you're saying you guys are not the majority,
I just want to know
because you
where it's
still
coming
root for
from.
Colorado
Phil. All I
anyway.
want to know is where that's coming from. I feel like it came out of left field. Like
I know what
like,
DC's
Well,
trying
think
to say
about it.
without saying it. I can
it came
tell
out of
you.
left field. I don't know where it came from. It came out of left field. Like
You're
it came
not
out of
liking.
nowhere.
You're not liking it, even though. But think about it. Why would you have a problem with what I said when it was merging and everybody being fans of Coach Prime and Colorado? Why would that be a problem?
No, no.
It's
The only issue that the only question that I have the only question I have with what you were saying is you were giving your final thoughts on the media day and how Prime handled the entire media day, and then you said, "All right, let me let y'all know. Remember, it has to be about Colorado and not about Prime, right?" So
What I
feel
said
like
was
that came
he
out of
did a
left
great
field. Like
job of
the
merging the
conversation was
two.
never, weren't nobody ever separating Prime and Colorado, but you kind of threw it in there as if you knew something that we didn't know.
What I will say from my football experience, okay, when Coach Prime was at JSU, more people were about Coach Prime at HBCUs, not JSU, because y'all not watching JSU no more. Just keep it real. Most of
Are
y'all
you
that were
admitting
for
that you
Coach
threw this
Prime,
in as a
listen,
wank wank, or are you
listen.
just saying this
No,
was
no,
part of
no,
the?
no, 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 no. Listen to. Let me repeat this again because I think we're hearing something that I'm not saying. I think we're questioning my motives
No,
versus
I
hearing
heard
it.
what you
I
said,
s-
and you're
you,
right.
but no, you try right. So what I'm
Yeah, and
saying is
you are
that
right with with the example that you're using of Jackson State. I agree with you.
yes, yes.
Thank you.
I'm
Hey, look,
saying
DC,
that
DC,
No,
look,
I
no,
li-
no. But I have to push back because I'm saying in context, it's placed, it's misplaced when it comes to context. But you can't just make a statement out of context and then say, and then now try to cover up after the context and then say, well, I agree with you. Yes, I agree in general that we
well
want to
now
make
you just
sure.
said you just said two motives though. You said
I said
I
in
did
context, let's make
something
sure that
context.
right. It came out of left.
Well,
You
if you're
don't agree that
confused
it
about
came
the
out of left
context, you
field? Like
ask.
you just threw that in there somewhere. Like let's
If
make
you're
sure it's
confused
about.
about the, if you're, well, think about
Give
this.
me the
You asked the
context, then
context, so
I'll
that
agree with you. If you give me the
the
correct
context
context, I
was
will agree with you.
okay. Let me say it one more time.
All right.
I like how Coach Prime blended the university and his messaging and what he does, and he did a phenomenal job sitting there. That's why I gave Coach Prime and Colorado, which should be simultaneous, should be left and right hand. It should basically be a handshake. It's that he did a phenomenal job and gave him an A plus. And then
He's
I
always
said going forward,
he's always done that since he's been there.
No, Ron. Let him finish, and then we'll cook him. Because right now he's about to get cooked.
no, I'm not about to get cooked.
You
Y'all,
about to
it's
get
put like
cooked,
this. If I
DC.
get
Stop
cooked,
playing. I
if
said
I get cooked,
context.
if I get cooked, it's because you're headstrong on
Give me the
misunderstanding
no.
versus.
Give me the
No,
context. I want you to finish. Phil, I'm just gonna
go
let you
ahead,
finish.
because I'm
I
going to the
won't talk.
freezer and get some extra meat this time.
I'm not gonna talk. I
So,
want you to finish your context.
DC, do you have an analogy or another college that you can compare to Colorado?
No.
Okay,
Don't throw
I
nothing out
can
in
do
there.
it. I can do it.
Just give me
I'm
the
just,
context. Don't listen to Phil. Listen
I
nothing to
just
what
gave it
Phil
to
just
you.
said. I don't
I
need.
just gave it to you.
No, you did
I
not.
just
Okay,
gave it to
now,
you.
okay. Say if
I
you saying
said what
that was
I
your
said.
context, okay, good. If you said that was your
Right.
context, I want to let you know
Yes.
that it was a misplaced context because you're
But that's
saying
a disagreement.
Coach Prime blended Prime and the school, and he did a phenomenal job, and that was the context in which you're now saying let's make sure we're not making this about Prime as much as we are about the school. So let me tell you why the
Well,
context is misplaced. All right, and then you can come back and give me all of your other stuff that you're gonna give me because you're a legacy guy. So
okay.
listen, when I say context misplaced, I'm talking about the fact that coaches are not given a quota to say Colorado. They're asked questions because they are the coach of Colorado. So he's representing Colorado. So there's no need for Coach Prime to have any separate conversation about saying, hey guys, let's make sure that we understand that this is about Colorado and not about me. Coach Prime is the coach of Colorado. He's the head coach. When they're asking other coaches of other schools questions, they're not saying, hey, is this about you? Coach Prime is now being held at a different what's the name, because he's a celebrity first. Coach Prime is a celebrity, so it doesn't matter what happens.
That's what Paul Feinbaum said.
Well, yeah,
That's
but
what Paul Feinbaum
I'm
said.
talking about context now. Let's remember context. Don't throw Paul Feinbaum in this conversation because you get cooked too, for Phil. I'll cook both of you before I leave out of here. Don't play with me. Context, right? You're saying Coach Prime should either say Colorado, should wear a Colorado hat, or should be riding on the bull. He should be riding on Ralphie.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. You're saying I'm saying that. But now you're going to say something out there that people think I'm saying that I didn't say. I didn't say that. But go ahead, continue.
Then I'll give it to you, right? Because this is like the after show now, right? This is where you get covered.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, if you're going to just throw that in there, let's make it about Colorado and not about Prime. I wanted to know where it was coming from, because you said the context is the fact that Coach Prime blended his conversation with him and Colorado. What is he supposed to do or say? He's supposed to say Colorado, 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 and then say Prime? Or he's just supposed to answer the question as he's being asked? So that's the context. So why would you even just throw that in there and say, oh, y'all are doing it, y'all are making this about Prime and not about Colorado, because he's the head coach. Head coaches are representing the school. So that's who we're talking about. We're talking about Colorado. So why would that be a separate thing that you feel like you have to identify because we're praising Prime too much? That's what I want to know.
No, I didn't. Who said I said you were praising Prime too much? I didn't say that. You make the
statements of saying that we need to make sure that we are making this about as much about Colorado as we are about Prime. That was your statement, correct?
Right.
Right. So why would you feel like you had to say that?
Because here's what
Prime needed to say Colorado 10 times.
I'll cook you on one question.
Yes.
When it comes to Georgia, how many times have you said Georgia, and how many times have you said Kirby Smart?
Is this white chicken or is this black chicken? Because is this a season? Are you about to cook me for real? Because that's not what
I'm asking you a question. But it's cooked.
Kirby Smart
is cooked. You can't answer that question.
Kirby Smart does not have the same celebrity status as the Coach Prime.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying to you is this.
Georgia precedes Kirby Smart. Georgia precedes Kirby Smart because Georgia is a blue blood that wins a lot. Well, because of Kirby now, right? But keep in mind that Georgia is a bigger program than Colorado is. Colorado needed to infuse some type of energy because it's a losing program. So it's not a blue blood, right? So we have to understand that. So when we're talking about Prime and why the last footage that I showed you, while so many people were around that table, they weren't around the table because of Colorado. They were around the table because of Prime, because of his celebrity. So we don't necessarily have to, every time we celebrate Prime or we say Prime, we don't necessarily have to say Colorado, because he's the head coach of Colorado. So that's why I was like, wait, where is the comment coming from? Why do you feel like we're saying too much Prime that we need to say Colorado as well, just so people can remember that this is Colorado we're talking about? Like,
well, Harry,
I know we're shooting the breeze and stuff, but we can't get too caught up on.
And Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide are going to be playing Georgia. Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide are playing Michigan. Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide are so on and so on and so on.
Mm-hmm.
It's the exact same thing. No,
right, because Nick Saban is a celebrity.
Alabama Crimson Tide. It's just that his persona just exceeded the school.
Exactly. Nick Saban was a star.
Okay, Ron. How many times have you said Coach DeBoer?
Coach who?
Coach DeBoer doesn't have the same celebrity as Nick Saban.
No, he doesn't. That's the example I was trying to pull. I was trying to prove or give you that you could understand and see that, just use Nick Saban.
I get what you're saying.
And you understand.
Well, at the end of the day I understood that from the beginning, but what I'm saying
But you
is
still
that
have not answered my question
I
of where
like
you come from. You didn't come from
I
anywhere.
did. You just don't like the answer. I
Basically,
did. I said that you. I answered it. You just don't like the answer. Now,
Okay, so
if
if
the
I didn't
elephant
like
in
the
the
answer,
room
then let me
is,
ask you this question.
pun
Okay,
intended.
I didn't like your
Uh,
answer, but how many times? Let me ask you this question: how many times do you
I
think
care
that
about no
Coach Prime
elephant.
should mention
mhm.
Colorado when he's answering his questions?
DC, are you saying
Say
that?
it again.
How many times do you think Coach Prime should say Colorado when he's answering his questions to appease you?
I'm saying, I don't know how many times he should. I can't answer that. What I
Well,
can sit back and
this was
say
your
is,
issue. You brought up
again,
the issue. You
I
have to
said
know
that I'm going to say it again.
what would suffice for you to satisfy your thirst for why Colorado's not being
I
mentioned as much as
because
Prime.
I because again, I just gave you the let me go back and just say it again. When Coach
Mhm.
Prime got to JSU, people were more so about Coach Prime and HBCUs than they were about actually Jackson State. And when he left, that did impact the team, and it kind of impacted the SWAC. Just keeping it real, that's a true statement. Now that he's in Colorado, the first year it was about they get me now when it should be really it's we getting the team, not just you, which I understand what he was trying to say. Now I like the fact that with the first year from the Louis luggage and stuff, which I totally get that he did a great pivot to now making it more about the comprehensive thing as a whole, where they were like, because think about it, when most people came to Colorado, y'all came because of Prime. But now that he's making it where there's a good blend, and I'm liking what I'm seeing in that. The messaging is there. And I hope what I use that as an example to highlight, hopefully it's trickling down everybody to not just fall or continue to have the great respect for Prime that he deserves, but also to what that university has and to offer. Now you might be different and Ron may be different, but there are people that are not there because those two go together. He's an employee of Colorado University. And I think for them investing what they invested in him, that is a great thing for us to be supportive also in that instead of it sometimes, I said sometimes, not all the time, being a byproduct of the love for Coach Prime.
I
That's
think
it.
so.
Hold
I
on.
understand
Hey,
what you're
Harry.
saying, but I feel like you threw a bomb and then you hide
Yes.
your hand, and now you're trying to explain what bombs do.
Hey,
You know,
Harry,
bombs blow up.
Because I know
Bombs
how
blow up.
sometimes folks think.
Bombs.
I know how folks sometimes think. Sometimes think. That's
bombs.
why I said it the way it is.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you threw the bomb, and then now you're trying to explain to us
Yeah.
what a bomb is and how a bomb destroys. I understand the idea of what you're saying. I'm just saying that out of context, you stated what you stated because you have not you're mostly the most articulated person that I've ever talked to, and now you are having an issue with articulating the context of which you brought up a statement. And I don't think you made any sense when it comes to like why you're saying what you said because you're like now you're trying to tell me about Jackson State. Well, we haven't got into the origin of why you said what you said. It's not coming across as to why you said what you said.
hey, Harry, can I chime in here for a minute?
Yeah,
I hope you all can. Can you hear me?
we can hear you. Is that your knife? What? Are you sharpening a knife?
Well, you know, when you chop this meat up, you're ready to cook. You got to make sure your knife is sharp.
Oh my gosh, DC, you got your sound effects coming?
Listen, come on, DC. Now you know the only thing that was your
DC is trolling right now.
to, even in the midst of no reason whatsoever for you to make that comment, you still had to try to throw a little shade at Coach Prime.
Yo, let me just put this on. Let me just put this on the record. I know where DC is coming from, but I'm pushing back because I know where he's coming from, and I know why he's saying what he said. But
Okay.
I gotta push back because it was he should have prefaced it. He never did it, but I know where he's coming from. I'm just giving him a hard time. This is a total offline conversation that we're having right now.
Well, I am too, and I went and got my butcher knife and my sharpener to let him know as we make this stew, that I want to have a sharp knife to be able to cut through this meat as we cook.
Yeah.
DC, we even allow you to have a bowl.
Anyways, you know what, DC, I know why you said what you said. But anyway, let's get up out of here, man. Look, it was a great conversation we just had about Coach Prime and his media day, man. DC, thank you for joining. Ron Tate, thank you for staying on. Guys, look, have a great weekend. Hopefully, I'll see y'all on Monday Night Football, and we'll talk more about this whole media day and whatever transpires then. Y'all have a great weekend, guys.
Hey, look, I love this. I love the platform, DC. It's always great when you and Phil are around.
Yeah.
You too, bro.
You guys take care. Be safe.
All right, William Berry, I'll see you on Monday. If you anybody that got beef, bring it on Monday, because trust me, I know how to cook, and I know how to cook your beef. All right, guys, have a good weekend. I'm out of here. Peace.